Nah, man, it's Friday.
Doozy day. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Testing, testing. Is this thing on?
585.
Like butter, baby.
All right.
Cool.
We start late. We're good to go. It's gonna be a doozy.
Man.
Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you Chad Chimers, Ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us on this Friday, December 1st. It's the first of the month, 2023.
Hey. Wake up.
Man, one more month in this year, bro.
Man, 2 more weeks in this episode or this season.
Very crazy, very crazy, very
Yeah,
crazy.
man.
Thanks for everybody that's joining us this morning. The radio listeners, man, 6:30 crew got up. Already told me the mix was nice, so appreciate y'all over there on firstguyomaha.com. Hit the listen button. And been looking at some apps for that too, man. How would you guys feel if we had an app for the radio channel? You could just hit something on your phone and tune on in.
Yeah.
Working on it. Good morning, and I see the chat is already giving us the good mornings. Appreciate that very much. Pops in the chat first off says this will be an electrified Friday. I can't wait. I can't wait. Good morning, fam, and mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops.
There you go. There you go.
Tamika Johnson's up giving us some sunshine. Appreciate you. Good morning.
Let it in.
Stacey Jean in the house says a good morning, First Guy Omaha family and friends. Happy Friday. Appreciate that very much. She's reminding me, just looking at her name got me thinking about our man Augie Kidd, man. He had a born day yesterday. So
oh man.
Shout out to Dalamar. Still First Guy Omaha fam in the background doing things.
Oh yeah.
That's what's up.
That's bro.
Leia Keister gives us a nope. I ain't even ready.
Yep, that's why I'm laughing. You got it. You said you're a little fog brain this morning.
I ain't even ready.
Me up. You'll pick me up.
All right. Let me see here. Get my readers on real quick.
Me.
Happy Friday, yippee, 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 yay, yay, yo, yo, yay.
See, you got it.
Yay, yay.
Yay, yay.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Sue Kessler Hagen gives us a good Friday morning. All right on. Appreciate you coming through. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Kimber Snipes is up early. She said, good morning, y'all. Great mix this AM. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Club 630.
Part of Club 630 these days.
Yeah.
Carol and Jack in the house. I ain't seen that name. What's going on, Purple Fam? She gives us a good morning.
Morning.
Appreciate that. Kimber says app would be great, especially for when I'm mobile. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hear that.
We do got the situation set up for the devices at home. If you got the Alexa, you got the Google, Siri, whatever you got at home devices. Like, hey, get down First Guy.
Just Alexa.
Okay.
Alexa. Yeah, we don't have the other ones quite yet, but we do got. If you have Amazon Alexa, you say, hey, play First Guy Omaha Radio. It'll pop right on up. But yeah, we're thinking app. As soon as we start expanding that digital channel, then we're going for. We started the process before, and then Apple held us up a little bit for the iOS version. But
man,
yeah, I think we're gonna be able to get over that this time and get going. So that's what's up. Kimmer Snipe says 360 announced they are giving 10,000 to NOCP and will do it this week. God is good. We was crying. We was crying up in that 360 meeting Wednesday. Man,
Mm,
sorry I missed that one.
man, it was a tearjerker, huh?
Huh? We got Mayor Sanchez in the house. Says, Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. No cure. Gonna cure my ills. I got a bad case. Man, you just got bars from everywhere, from all kinds
Man,
of genres of music. That's what's up.
man, might need to put together a little segment with the mayor, man. Guess that song.
There you go. He's already. It's kind of like that in the beginning in the mornings now, anyway. So that's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, guess that song. Give us the name of the title of that one. Appreciate you guys joining us, buddy. Good morning to you. How are you doing this morning, by the way?
Man, I'm excited. I'm excited. Today is one of the days we've been looking forward to. Got some people to, talk to today. But more importantly, I'm coming to Omaha today. I'm excited. Yeah, yeah,
Coming on
yeah.
in town, bro. That's what's up.
Yeah. We'll be touching down on the soil, if you will.
Yep, it's gonna be Power Weekend this weekend. Definitely tune in with what we got going on all the way through Monday and Tuesday, man. Wednesday
Yeah.
even. So yeah, lots going on. Of course, today we have some special guests. Brother Anthony Rogers-Wright, who is the campaign manager for Dr. Cornel West, will be on this morning. And also got word from Brother Qasim. He's going to be able to join us on when we have Dr. Umar on this morning as well. So Dr.
Nice.
Umar and Brother Qasim will be on a little later on the show as well. So chock full of guests. And also one more announcement too for those of you that did not hear yet, which I'm finding out is a lot of the case.
Man.
It's a lot of the case all over the place for whatever reason. We're trying to do something about this, but the getting the word out, is a really hard thing in Omaha, and especially when you got Facebook and Instagram algorithms messing you up and all that kind of stuff. But we're at least our group knows, at least our chosen few, our chat chimer, our First Guy Omaha family probably already knows this. But we're going to be speaking to Dr. Cornel West on Monday,
Man.
December 4th. He will be in town on Tuesday, so we will have to talk about that trip with his campaign manager, Brother Anthony Rogers-Wright, that'll come on today talking about the trip. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend for real Power Weekend in a big way. Lots going on, and of course we can't forget that we're all gathering tomorrow for the BAA's 4-year anniversary that will be happening at the AOS building, 4224 North 24th Street. If you haven't got your tickets for this, there's still opportunity to get some. I definitely would say that you should get down with it for real. Shout out to the BAA and Untamed and all the affiliates for putting this on. And bringing out Dr. Umar is going to be speaking tomorrow at this event at 4 p.m. So definitely get your tickets and come on through with this. Like I said, buddy's in town, so we can be able to hit this up. They're going to be giving out some awards to the community and so on and so forth. Lots happening for sure this weekend. So keep up with us, and we'll do our best to keep you informed about what's happening. And like I said, the first part of that is to have the brothers on today to talk about Power Weekend. So we'll see what's happening.
Yeah, it seems like they're feeling that term there. Tamika Johnson in the chat saying "Power Weekend." I love it. So yeah, she's here for it. I'm here for it. Quite literally, going to be there for it. So yeah, excited.
What's up, man?
Excited.
Miss Erica Felt, good morning to you this morning. She says, I have my tickets to see Dr. West at the Highlander. So she says, I've been a fan since the 80s, and I'm so excited. That's
Okay. Throw your W's up for the West.
The West Side and house is going down.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I was really looking at some material from him and just reminiscing on some of the wild stuff. As a matter of fact, I forgot that he did an album at one point too, man. He had Andre on that. He had all kinds of special guests on there. Yeah, I forgot about that album he came out with. But yeah, Dr. Cornel West been a figure for a minute, man. So really trying to represent, and I got a lot of questions definitely about what's going on with this party, this independent party that he's representing.
Yes.
Got to continue that conversation.
Man, and thank you for bringing that up. That's actually what's been on my mind. We kind of mentioned this, and I'm glad you broke it down as far as our style. For those of you who might be tuning in for the first time, or just really kind of catching wind of First Guy Omaha in the morning. This isn't just your typical news show where you come on and we just give the who, what, where, when, why, and move on to the next thing. Like, we're having in depth, kind of continuous conversations. And if you tuned in last episode, really got into the meat and potatoes of this independent party and just the party season or party system, and really trying to figure it out. And yeah, I'm definitely expecting not just today, but the next couple of episodes to be a continuation of that conversation. So yeah, big shout out to everybody who's a part of that conversation. Again, shout out to the likes of Sister Kimber Snipes, brother Sherman Wells, a few folks in the chat letting us know that they are nonpartisan, helping us get the language right and all that. So yeah, man. Yeah. Again, definitely get your questions ready for brother Anthony Rogers-Wright, who again is the campaign manager for Dr. Cornel West, the doc.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doc has gone through the different parties, man. Like I said, he started off with the People's Party. I was hoping that the People's Party had more support, but it looks like there's going to be he found more support in the next party, which was the Green Party, and found some support there, but had to take it a step further. Now he's representing the Independent Party, and like I said, there's a lot to be discussed about this. A lot of young people coming in as independents. If I remember correctly, I think Senator Megan Hunt decided she was going to be nonpartisan as well. And we found that. Yeah, we found out nonpartisan is kind of a Nebraska term, and something that is something that they are whatever the reason why it's something that they say in Nebraska and not other places. So they say independent in other places, they say nonpartisan here for whatever reason. So yeah, still lots of breakdown and talk about when it comes to these subjects, and of course we'll have the senators on next Monday to be able to continue that discussion too. I've been talking to them kind of behind the scenes about some of that stuff too, so it's pretty interesting, man. Okay, cool. So yeah, so really appreciate everybody that joined us today and coming on in, and I hope that you stay for the show for all the special guests that's going on, and I hope that you get your tickets and come on through for what's going on this whole weekend. Really, I mean, there's a lot happening. Like Miss Erica Felt just said, she got her tickets for Dr. Cornel West at the Highlander. So there's a flyer there. Shout out to the Black Agenda Alliance for putting this together as well. But you know where the Highlander is. Venue at the Highlander, 2120 North 30th Street. An evening with Cornel West happening December 5th, 7 to 8:30. So I believe that's this coming up Tuesday. So yeah, man, lots happening. So we'll be talking to him about it on Monday to tell us about the trip and what's going on with his campaign. So go ahead and get your tickets, man. A few tickets to get this weekend, but go ahead and get them.
Right. And it's just crazy. Not only how fast this year has flown by, but really the last 4 years have just flown. It just seemed like last year that crazies were storming the Capitol and people were voting and all this stuff was happening. And here we are again.
Time is moving exponentially.
Man, time
keeps on slipping into the future. There's no point in believing in it. It's just as soon as you get a grasp on it, then it's
gone
already. Right.
Yeah, man. Speaking of that, before it's time to start the show, how you doing, man? What's going on in your world, Paul?
Hanging in there. Lots going on. Definitely juggling a whole lot of things, and looking forward to the next month or two where I'm be able to set some things down.
Yeah, man.
And move on. So yeah, definitely in need of a little bit of a break for sure, but that's coming. So holidays is coming up, and we're all kind of figuring out how we spending our vacations, taking some time off, and so on. And of course, we have our break that always helps, man. It kind of comes right in time. Like we get good momentum going, and then it's like whoo. Fast pace here at towards the end of the season, and it's definitely time for us to be like, let's take a quick little break here, and enough of a break to kind of regroup and get busy for the next season 7 starting January 15th. So
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Any plans for y'all? What y'all got going on in your world? What's going on this weekend and into the season? Drop that into the chat. It is Friday, so we got a lot of things going on. Got a few guests, few topics to dive into. So hopefully we'll have enough time at the end for an extended haps as we try to do.
Word up.
Yeah, so drop that in the chat, y'all.
In the meantime, let's go ahead and roll it up. A fresh edition is happening now. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Start the show.
Hey.
What up? What up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. First of all, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B. the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All
Hey.
of you Chad Chimers, Ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us again on this Friday, December 1st, 2023. Special guest coming on, Brother Anthony Rogers-Wright, who is the campaign manager for Dr. Cornel West. He'll be on earlier in the show. And then a little later on in the show, we will have Dr. Umar back for a second interview, a second round of questions and comments, and hear what he has to say as far as everything's going on in his trip coming up
Yeah,
this
man.
weekend too. He'll be joined with Brother Qasim from the Black Agenda Alliance. So shout out to Beeee for all the work that they're doing. People have been asking me on and offline, how did you get Dr. Cornel West? Beeee is responsible for bringing
Man.
Dr. Cornel West out and hooking us up and bringing him on the show and supporting his trip here to that Highlander event as well. So, and of course, our brother Anthony Rogers Wright, who apparently we've had on the show before
Yeah.
that I had forgotten about because I tend to block out a lot of mind and soul stuff, but from time to time, I always get shocked and surprised when I get like memories from Facebook about stuff that happened at Mind and Soul. And I'm like, man, we used to have a good time doing stuff at Mind and Soul.
We did. We
We did.
did. So shout out to all the OG listeners out there who's been down since those days. We appreciate you. And for those of you who missed it, we still do got some of that stuff in the archive. So, might, look out. Look out. That's all
There
I'm gonna
you
say.
go.
All I'm gonna say.
Miss Erica Felt in the chat says, I feel like the independent party isn't an actual party. There's no platform. It's simply stating the person isn't with any of the platform holding parties. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I think this is what we're trying to work out.
Yeah. To my understanding, that's what we kind of learned from the likes of, Camera and even Senator Justin Wayne put some respect on his name, came through and broke some things down for us. And yeah, that was kind of the conclusion that the independent party is not an actual party, more so of a ideology, I guess you could say. Even not even really ideology, just a designation.
hmm
Yeah,
So yeah, so what does that mean for support? What does that mean for dollars behind campaigns, so on and so forth? That's
right,
what we're trying to learn. Yep.
right.
Appreciate you very much, Mira Sanchez. Time keeps on slipping. Talking about Steve Miller Band. Yep,
Yeah, man.
baddest track they ever did. Uh, Jay Carter gives us a good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you coming in. Kimber Snipes says funeral on Saturday for one of the black bike community legends. Plus,
Man,
Dr. Umar is going to be an emotional day. Man,
man,
yeah, yeah. Appreciate you. Yeah.
man.
Uh,
That woman giving Kimura a hug. Okay,
the,
over the chat. That's the
the
first. That's the
virtual
first.
hug. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, for those of you that are new here, just a reminder: this is how we use the chat. We call you guys chat chimers because you guys aren't just a chat in a live stream. You guys are all actually like co-hosts, and everybody knows that we kind of speak to each other like we're speaking face to face when we're in the chat. We're not using the chat to do anonymous trolling and all the rest of the stuff that every other chat does. We're actually engaged. So there you go, via the virtual hug that one chat chimer gave to another, as you can see. We're live together, so that's what's up. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in and joined in the chat. We do have a few things to talk about today that we're going to try to get in between the guests. Some of the things that have been holdovers for what we've been talking about all week long, and also some new news, some stuff that's in the news right now going on. So, Buddy, you want to do a little rundown of some of the stuff we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, I actually got so carried away last episode about the independent conversation that we didn't really get to get into a few articles. So hopefully we'll have the time to talk about that today. Definitely want to look into gun violence as a public health crisis explored by U.S. Senate Democrats. So there's a lot more to that conversation that we'll have to dive into. Also, the White House is proposing $92 million for Nebraska child care providers. And again, shout out to the likes of Sister That Woman, Miss Erica Feld, and also Gwen Easter, our kind of resident child care providers, keeping us abreast of all the news and kind of the drama going on with that situation. So hopefully that 92 million will get to the right hands. We'll definitely talk about that. Also, keeping it within that realm, we're talking about the children, the youths, and the families. This coming out of Nebraska Examiner, Nebraska hearing on mandates facing K through 12 schools, targets teacher training and student behavior, which is a big issue as we prepare for the next session, as the likes of Legislative Resolution 220 coming out of the woodwork as well. Again, this is dealing with possibly arming teachers with guns and um, school security options. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of getting out of hand. What is going on in our schools and with these child behavioral issues that we've been hearing about? A lot of them stemming from the pandemic and some of the mental health that's been as a result. So again, a lot more conversation to have on that topic. Also, we're still looking at the development happening on the north side, still following the money, still looking at the hopeful change on 24th Ames, 30th, 16th. And one of the big signs of that is, again, finally OOIC building having some changes, finally sold it to the likes of Bud Crawford. And now we're excited to see what he is going to do. What are the plans for, again, the old OIC building? So yeah, definitely be talking about that. If anybody has any information on that, any ideas of what they would like to see, I would definitely love to hear about that in the chat. So as always, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard, and yeah, jump into the chat. And I would also love to hear what you have to say about this pilling plea for again more foster and adoptive parents. So kind of talking about the children, talking about the babies, talking about education, all that today. So again, chime into the chat, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard, join the conversation.
There you go. Kimber Snipes in the chat is asking if we're gonna have another chat chimers kickback this weekend. I know why she's asking. She just trying to act well. She just she had a good time last time. That's all I'm saying. She had a good time at our last one. Dominating the dominoes table. So that's what's up.
Man,
That's what's
might
up.
need might need my rematch.
Yeah, buddy. When Buddy's in town, we definitely gonna we're trying to figure it out. We definitely gotta be hosted, helping host some things going on this weekend. But we will try to make a evening out for that. I don't know
Yeah,
which one it'll be. Leaning towards Saturday night. We'll see how it goes, but we'll definitely let you know about that. Stay tuned.
definitely be a reason to celebrate that night.
Yeah, for real, man. Mayor Sanchez says young kids, small skate park, OICC building. That's a good question. We'll see. We'll see what he got going on with this
Okay.
with the plans. I didn't get to read. I didn't get to dig into the plans yet to see what was going on. But I'm excited that first of all, Terrace Bud Crawford, the champ,
Yeah.
got the building, and went ahead and they had to make the decision to tear it down. I believe it was too kind of messed up, dilapidated, um, and so they had to tear it down. So we'll find out what they're going to be building there. As a matter of fact, if you got that pulled up, let's check it out real quick if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Again, following the money, looking at the development happening on North Omaha. And really the transformation has already begun on the Deuce. Again, getting ready for North End Teleservices to begin the construction and building up of their headquarters. And now, right down the street, the Omaha Opportunities Industrialization Center, or as we like to call it in the community, the OOIC building, again, was a place to go for job opportunities in North Omaha for years. I've had several relatives who kind of told me stories about going there for, training specifically on trades, which we talked about on the past here on this show. The importance of having those types of opportunities. One community leader, Michael Williams, is quoted in this article saying, I know individuals who got nursing training and benefited from that, what OIC stood for and what it meant. Great things for years in landmark building, however, has sat empty for as long as I can remember, and time and bad behavior threw the place into disrepair. As Paul had mentioned, that's kind of been the big issue about several people trying to purchase that building. What to do with it? According to the Omaha City Planning Director Dave Fanslow, the bones of the building were pretty good, but the inside, the interior, has been broken into, vandalized, stripped of some of the materials. The inside was pretty rough. So Williams, who is the head pastor at Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church, which actually sits right next door to OIC, says the community tried desperately to save the building. However, he says there were meetings held, or there were attempts to repair various aspects of the building, and it just seemed like nothing came together. But then again, some change, some movement forward happened with the number one professional boxer in the world, pound for pound champ Terrence Bud Crawford, being able to acquire the building. And now Crawford owns the property outright. Is bringing opportunity back to the area. Right now, no one is for sure what the champ will build on the site. One comment says we've had a few informal conversations with him, but he hasn't submitted anything to us. He's kicking around some ideas, but until he brings us something, we really don't know. It's part of the overall facility, or excuse me, facelift that's coming to 24th. Again, as I mentioned previously, with the North End Telecommunications building, the headquarters coming up right down the street, and some other properties being transformed. they're going to say, I think it will be a blessing for the community as a whole. So again, what are some things that we would like to see with that building? Would some of us like to see it come back to kind of its trade, use as far as training for job opportunities? We've also talked with Senator Wayne about the importance of having sports opportunities in the community, especially for our youth. To just give them something to do with their time, something to do with their energy. Um, could that be a sports center? What do we think? What would we like to see right there?
Yeah, I think. I mean, we got B&B Boxing that's
Right.
this up the street, and of course that's where the champ trains, and there's all kinds of youth programs. There's a lot of youth they're getting training there as well, and they don't just have boxing training there. They got other stuff they do there too. They got a basketball
Wrestling.
court outside and wrestling and all kinds of different things. So it could be a situation where they're expanding that facility, is what my guess would be on that. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on. I'm sure we'll have something to do with sports. It's closer to Bud's shop,
Hmm.
so that's the thing too. Kimmer Snipes says someone told me they saw a plan for Omaha for 30 years out in 24th Street in a zone is commercial, almost all the way down. I haven't seen the map myself. Wait, it was very hard to get from the city.
Yeah.
It may be a commercial, maybe commercially zoned. It might be something that we can actually look up and check out to see how the area is zoned, and that'll give us some idea about what can happen there. So we'll see. Tony Johnson in the chat says, "What happened to the training program center on Ames?" Not really sure about that one.
Yeah.
Thought they funded to do that and required by government. Yeah, not. I don't really know about what you're asking there on that one. So give me a little bit more clarification there. Appreciate it.
Like where on Ames?
And which program was that? Are you talking about OIC building getting funded? We know that Bud Crawford bought that outright, so we're just kind of waiting to see what he has to say on what's going to happen there. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's what's up. That's. I like the fact that he's one of these examples of cats that have gone out of town and done some big things and coming back and doing some revitalization of the area he grew up around. So
Hmm.
that's
I mean,
that's
that's
number one.
again, that's what it's about. That's why we need more of an economic base and kind of get out of this whole again, no shots to the ones that are out there actually doing the work. But we got to get out of this nonprofit mindset. Again, we need more successes, financial successes in the community to kind of generate this thing. So definitely big shout out to Bud Crawford. And I'm actually kind of on the other side. I don't think that it will be more sports. Again, we heard that he did receive a land to expand closer to the B. Remember the land right behind the B&B Boxing Center. He just received that land from the city during the parade. They had the big announcement with
Yeah,
him getting that land, and we actually did talk to Senator McKinney, who is a wrestling coach over there, and he did mention that there, would be some more sports kind of programming in that area. So I don't think he'll be, expanding in one area and bringing sports to the OIC. Actually would like to see more trade training, kind of informal job placement, things like that. But again, kind of have to wait and see what, like you said, Bud owns it outright, so it is ultimately up to him what he would like to see and do, and hopefully he makes the right decisions. Listen to some folks in the community, and yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what he does with that facility.
yeah. Love to have him on and maybe even talk about it. So
Yeah,
it'd
yeah,
be a
yeah.
good thing to have him on and talk about. Also, I was thinking about well, first of all, in the chat, Tony Johnson said 57th Ames Unemployment Office.
Hmm.
All government training operates there.
Okay.
So, yeah, not too familiar with that. I'm also thinking about MCC. That's also we're pretty close to Metropolitan Community College that also has all these trade programs and so on and so forth for pretty cheap
Hmm.
as well. So, how much job training and job placement kind of stuff do we need? Do we need more? Are we utilizing the resources we have right now? Because I know, like I used to work at Metropolitan Community College. I know they got tons of resources shooting a documentary film with the reentry program right now, and they got a board full. There's over 300 partners that will hire that you can get a job from, whether you've been incarcerated or not. So I mean, there's job resources there. There's training for jobs there, all kinds of stuff in a big way. Um, so what do we really need in that space? I'm sure that him and his team are looking at all that.
Hmm. Hmm. That is kind of interesting what Sister Kimber was saying about again, possibly 24 being zoned as a commercial. a corridor. What does that mean? What does
Yeah.
that mean? I think there has been conversation. If I remember, Senator Wayne actually asked, what would we like to see on 24th? Is that going to be an arts district? We have again the Union there. We have Noma there.
Yeah.
We have the Culture House there. Will that be an arts district, or will that be more of a commercial? Will that be a nonprofit district, a historic district? There's a lot of questions about what the future of 24th is, and it seems like more people are focusing on answering that question kind of more so than us in the community. Like what is the communal vision of that area?
Totally. Kimmer Snipes has given us more information on that, saying MCC has an MOU with the AJC. It's Heartland Workforce. MCC has a training room in there. I just went on tour yesterday. I used to work
Okay.
there. So yeah, I mean, a lot of resources over there at MCC that we need to really kind of think about as well. But what is it that we want to see there? I think 24th and Lake Street, they're kind of saying the Deuce is like a historical district.
Hmm.
So and you can make an argument for it being an arts district as well. It's not a registered arts district. It's a registered historical district. So what does that mean though? I mean, that means you can still have venues there, stores there, all kinds of things, and it's a different kind of zoning situation when you're thinking about whether or not it's residential or commercial.
Right.
So what is commercial? What does that mean that can happen there?
Well,
Is kind of
Anthony Rogers-Wright coming with his perspective, saying Kimura is right. It means gentrification, and it's something we need to pay attention to before North Omaha gets bleached and Clorox. Which
Mm.
again kind of goes to my sentiments. Again, if they turn the Deuce into a commercial district, will we have business owners from outside the community complaining during Omaha days?
Or like they already kind of doing, already blocking off the street.
Hello,
They doing a thing. They doing some things.
hello, hello.
Doing some things.
Yeah, we've seen that happen in some other areas. If you remember, around Howard University, there were some zoning changes and some changes, and then it came an issue where you had new residents in the area walking their dogs on the lawns at Howard University, dogs pooping all on the lawns where the students at Howard was sitting. Became some issues. So yeah, again, what is the future of the Deuce, and who's working to build that vision?
That's rough.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I don't want to see that kind of deuce going on around.
Man, I mean, can you imagine? People trying to
I,
play
would-
play music on that on the Deuce Corner at the park where they have live bands out there. Like, hey, cut that noise.
yeah. I mean, they get a little bit. There's complaints every Omaha day from the residents, from some of the residents that want all that stuff shut down. They feel like it gets wild around them. They want some of that police presence. Yeah, it would just get worse, we can't. We also can't have that conversation without talking about how Creighton is pushing down the street. So that's another piece of that puzzle there. But yeah,
Encroaching.
interesting stuff. Anthony Rogers, right? He's going to be on the show here in just about 15 minutes, so he's already on the show, fired up
Man,
in the chat. Appreciate that. He said they snatched Howard, changed the name of the hood and to Shaw.
man. I had some relatives I went to Shaw University.
Man, it's crazy, bro. Tony Johnson said, "Hope Councilwoman Johnson is keeping eye on it." That would be great.
That would be. Man, yeah, we might need to have some conversations.
He
Try
also
again.
asked, what are they doing with all that money? Did training taxpayer dollars for services? Yeah, I kind of understand what you mean there. Wanda Lewis says, due to the apartments that they are building in the community, it will be zoned for commercial and residential. I think that's what's happening on the Deuce there with Carmen Tapio's with teleservices that's
Yeah.
coming. It's going to be mixed use.
Yeah.
I've been looking for mixed use ever since I got in town. I'm glad that some's finally being built somewhere. Also, I don't know if you guys missed it though. We put anytime that William King over at 95.7 The Boss has on any special guests, we try to air that on Friends of First Sky Omaha too. So he had Councilwoman Juanita Johnson put some respect on her name on recently, and we put that on Friends of First Sky Omaha to check out. So you can go back and check out his show as well, 95.7 The Boss, and hear what she had to say there. I didn't get the chance to look at the whole interview, but I want to go back and check it out. So we'll definitely see.
Yeah, definitely love to hear what she has to say, and more so hear what she has going on. Again, not really hearing too much communication. Not saying she doesn't, just not hearing about it.
There you go. Appreciate everybody that's joined in. I see Black Dynamite in the chat. Good morning.
Hey,
Said, what's up here? He said, what's up? Happy Friday, y'all. That's what's going on. Appreciate you coming on in. Also, Anthony Rogers-Wright says Creighton needs to change their mascot from Blue Jays to the Colonizers.
sheesh.
Ain't throwing no punches this morning.
Man, yeah. Looking forward to having you on, brother. Looking forward. Wanda Lewis also in the chat saying the city has a good idea as to what will be built in the old OIC parcel. They've been in conversation because it has to fit in with the city's plan for that area. So again, this goes back to our conversation. Like, what is the plan? Who and how do we fall in? And do we have the autonomy, to self-actualize, to kind of dictate as historical people of that community? Again, my family owned property in that area, the Magic Door daycare. My great grandmother had a house in that area, right off of I want to say 16. So I grew up in that area. I'm very familiar with that area. It's part of my history. And I'm sure it's a lot of people. Your family, Paul, it has a legacy right there on the Dukes. But again, do we have autonomy to kind of protect that legacy, to continue that legacy, or do we gotta fall into what the city council has to say?
Yeah. Seems like we are sliding towards that North Omaha plan that's been in place for a little while, and you see things happening. Little players to be. We'll see what's going on, man. I saw just recently, Culture House kind of teamed up with Noma on a couple things, so
Mm,
we'll get with Marcy Yates and see what his insights on what's happening around there. And also, man, we can't really we talk about the Deuce a lot, but we can't like throw 30th out.
yeah,
30th
man.
got a lot of development, a lot of stuff going on as well.
In Ames.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. 30th and Ames is where the new black bank is, man, young bank. So a lot of growth, a lot of things happening there, and it'll be interesting to see. I definitely see a little bit of a fight going on the gentrification fight that's happening a little bit with a lot of us trying to hold on to certain pieces of it. But some of it, I also see us certain organizations teaming up with
Hmm.
outside influences to change the face. So I always get into this conversation with Manny about town. We'll have to have Brother Manny on from
Spark.
Spark and the Fabric Lab, and
Hmm.
talk about he's been closely related to what's going on as far as that plan is concerned, having worked at the planning department at
Yeah.
one point. So yeah, that's what's up. Lots to continue to talk about, and we can definitely have Senator Juanita. I mean, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Juanita Johnson on, and have some conversations with her as well. See if she is kind of keeping her eye on some of those things. It'd be interesting to see.
Man. Speaking of the Black Bank, Tamika Johnson in the chat said, "Got my business account at Young Bank." That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah,
Yes,
let's
sir.
let's not just talk about it. Let's be about it. That's boots to the roots, man. We're talking about again continuing to follow the money in this season, circulating the dollar within our community to help build each other up, and that's what it's about, y'all. So yeah,
Yes,
look in the Young Bank. Let's support. Let's support.
and stay tuned for Julian Young to come on and talk about it a little bit too. Give us
Yes,
some
yes,
insights
yes,
on that.
yes.
We're
Definitely.
definitely in talks on that. Let's move on to the next subject before we get like I say, brother. We got brother Anthony Rogers Wright that's coming on here in just about 5 minutes, and he's already fired up. So I can't wait to have a conversation. But in the meantime, between time, let's jump into another issue real quick before we get to our guests.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Again, this talking about support, talking about our local businesses. Again, we have to talk about and give a shout out to our local child care providers, our in-home child care providers, people in the community, man, helping us, kind of a backbone of the community, as we've learned over the several years. And hopefully, this is good news for them, as the White House proposes $92 million for Nebraska child care providers. This being reported by KETV 7. According to the White House request, another 16 billion for child care stabilization grants nationally, which would include again 92 million that will be allocated for Nebraska, and 153 million for Iowa. The grants, which started going out during the pandemic, are given to licensed child care providers. Grants can be used for things like wages, employee benefits, rent, or mortgage payments, utilities, and other items needed to sustain a child care environment. According to Five First Nebraska director Jason Porkup, the grants help child care providers keep their doors open. They've been essential. The additional round of grants would need approval by Congress. And according to the White House, the 92 million would go to about 2,270 licensed providers and help up to 103,000 children in Nebraska. Prokup said the grants don't go directly to parents, but indirectly help families Providers are the recipients of the funds and thus can continue to serve parents, and parents can continue to participate in the workforce. So again, kind of keeping that cycle going, if you will. While the grants are helpful, Prokop also says there needs to be more permanent public investment to fix the numerous issues within the child care system. Congressman Don Bacon acknowledged the scarcity and expense of child care as a burden for families, saying we need to assess what the role of the federal government is in child care and how to work on the problems in a fiscally responsible way. He also went on to say, this approach, however, needs to be studied deeply before the federal government would write a check for billions of dollars to ensure any federal action actually works and doesn't make Biden's inflation problem worse. That's actually according to Congressman Mike Flood, who called child care a critical priority for Nebraska's growing workforce, which is an issue that, again, a lot of Nebraska officials are trying to solve as far as the workforce. There's been several ideas, even looking at our incarcerated population and how to get them back into the workforce, different options and just routes. Yeah, definitely can't forget about our child care providers. So shout out to Miss Erica Feld. I see you in the chat. I don't know if Gwen Easter is in the chat, but I'm curious. Have you benefited from any of these grants yet? Or is this something you plan on applying for? Or do you feel like, you have a lot of red tape for this? Kind of want to hear more details on it.
Well, Miss Erica Felt in the chat, first of all, is saying this is what I posted and asked everyone to tell their Congress members to approve. So we'll definitely have to go back and find out what the name of that bill. Make sure that we can get some boost to the roots on this to get some help. She also says with these funds, we don't need to raise rates, which is very, very important.
Yes.
Rates is already pretty high for childcare in the first place,
Yeah.
and then with all this competition out here, especially with what we've been talking about, nonprofit organizations that are providing child care services for free in our neighborhoods and kind of putting these these smaller child care facilities out of business. Not smaller and bigger, really, just the
Yeah.
neighborhood child care facilities. They're hurting. We all know that most people we talk to, they want their kids to be able to go to neighborhood child care facilities, people that we know in the neighborhood, and so on and so forth, and be able to get that kind of help with that. But the rates can be outrageous, and it's
Man.
hard for child care providers to be able to hire other people and all kinds of stuff because of how much it costs for that. Any kind of help, will definitely help. That will help all of us with that, not just the child care providers, but the people who need child care in their and have to put that in their budget. Mr. Erica says there are a variety of different grants due to having been a renter and the licensing agent shortage. I didn't qualify for some previous ones. Wow.
Mm.
Okay, so some are only out there for people that own the facility. She also says I have helped many get their money, and there is one in the new year I'll be receiving. So
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I
Beautiful.
feel for you. I feel for you. To be in any kind of industry where part of what you got to do instead of just running your business is also apply for all these grants, also be out here asking and trying to get supplements and help and all the hoops that you got to go through when you got to fill out applications and all the things. I mean, me and Buddy talk about it all the time. We need to hire a whole other person
Man,
to deal with all that mess.
grant
Because
writing is a full-time job.
come on, man. Every industry. I mean, this just goes when we talk about Omaha and Nebraska being a nonprofit town. It ain't just from the nonprofit organizations. It's like everything you got to do just to run a business sometimes, and the help that is provided. That there's so much to it that it's a lot. And I'm just thinking about it on a personal level about how frustrating it is to have to jump through a bunch of hoops and fill out applications and do all kinds of. It's a trip, man. It's a
Yeah.
trip to have to keep up with all these things. Even the work it takes to find out that they exist.
Right. Right. Right,
That
which is
they do.
interesting when you think about all the bailouts, the big governments or the big banks, corporations, and a lot of these Fortune 500 corporations kind of get on behalf of the government when it comes to the small person. These small businesses, in-home childcare providers, got to jump through the hoops. So yeah, definitely. And also, I don't want to skip over something else Ms. Erica Phelps said as far as the licensing agent shortage and blocking her from being able to qualify. So it's not even that she didn't qualify, but there has been instances where the licensing agent that she has to go to verify her qualification fell short and wasn't there or wasn't available, took too long, which is kind of a systemic issue as well that has to be addressed. So yeah, again, hopefully the likes of Miss Erica Felton and other family child care providers can get this, because Eddie Murphy tried to tell y'all, man, daddy daycare. we need those in-home child care providers. We need different types of institutions for our children. So
So
just
true.
like they need choices for schools, we need choices for child care as well.
Man. We're going to take a quick break and come back. We got a special guest waiting in the wings. Man, it's off to the races with the guests. So thanks for everybody who joined in on commenting and on this particular issue. Of course, we'll be keeping up with it. It is definitely an evergreen issue when it comes to this show. So we'll definitely be keeping up with it and getting some more instruction from Miss Erica Felt on what we can do to push some of these things as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, stay tuned. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick break and come back. Brother Anthony Rogers-Wright is in the wings, waiting to come on, and we'll have him on shortly. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat timers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, and ladies and gentlemen, brother Anthony Rogers-Wright in the chat. Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, my brothers, how are you this morning?
Man.
Y'all like destroying the stereotypes about us being lazy people. I mean, y'all are up early. I love it so much, and thank you so much for having me on.
Oh man, it's beautiful.
Appreciate you. Well, we are just a couple of artists and musicians that decided that there was stuff going on around us that we needed to talk about, that we couldn't ignore anymore. We had to put the keyboard down and get on the mic and start talking about it a little bit. So
Yes, sir.
Feel a kinship with you on that too. I know you're a brother of the musical persuasion as well. Is that right?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, I was just I got to give a plug to my dear brother Johnny and his guitar shop right in Blackstone. I have a new bass guitar coming in on Friday that he's going to set up. You got to go see brother Johnny. Good small business. Speaking of small businesses, Asian brother, and he just does great work. He's the only person in Omaha that touch my instruments.
Okay.
I love it, man.
Man, I think I might came across that shop. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. You said in Blackstone, right?
I haven't been in
Blackstone. Yeah. Right next to the what's that? The cheeseburger store.
Yep. Okay, yeah. That's what's up, man. Beyond that, kind of giving a little context, my introduction to you, I was back in the Mind and Soul days. I think you came on the Doug and Mika show a couple times. Definitely having some conversation. So for those of you who I see Camera giving you a shout out saying Anthony. So some people are familiar, but for those who aren't, can you kind of give a little background into who you are?
No, absolutely.
What you do.
I currently have the honor of serving as a co-manager for Dr. Cornel West's presidential campaign. Brother West will be on with you all on Monday and here in Omaha on Tuesday. We'll talk more about that. But my background is I'm the son of two Sierra Leonean West African immigrants. Born in D.C., my mom taught at Howard. So when y'all are talking about the situation there, very, very, close to my heart, and seeing what's been happening there. Hopefully, we can prevent that from happening here in Omaha as well. But I grew up in New York City. I'm a masochist because I'm a Knicks and Giants fan, and I feel like people in Nebraska can feel my pain with the Giants because y'all are going through a little spell as well with the college football team. So we have that synergy going too. And, my background is really in climate and environmental justice. That's what I studied in school. That's what I studied in grad school. And that's been my work for the last 15 years. I'd say I first started doing work in Omaha when I met my dear, dear brother and comrade, Grant Christensen. who is
Mm-hmm.
a sixth generation farmer, a farmer who does it the right way, one of the best peer organizers I've ever met in my life. And we started a coalition called Regenerate Nebraska back in, I think it was like 2016, 2017. That's time flies.
Yeah.
And Graham brought me into the community. I mean, first place he took me to was North Omaha. He's like, you got to see this. You got to see this neglect. And I mean, at that time, I took a job working for the first car Eastman campaign. It was kind of short lived, but I remember, when I like kind of went around North Omaha, I didn't know the city too well yet, just to ask people questions, had like a notebook and just like, what is going on? And at the time I was staying in Dundee, and I was so shocked by what I saw in North O. I walked all the way back in Dundee, and I asked someone, I think I freaked out this white person, because I was like, what town am I in? I thought I was like in a different like town. You know what I'm saying? Like, like the ATL, like there's Atlanta, but then there's like North Atlanta and all these like little communities that have their own jurisdictions. I thought Dundee was its own jurisdiction. The idea that this was in the same city as North Omaha was just so flummoxing to me. And I'm back now. I lived here for a couple of years during the pandemic, moved to DC for 2 years, and back now, and really excited to be back. It's really just good to see. You mentioned Sister Kimra, and so many amazing, just Black excellence. Just emerging right now. You're gonna have the dear brother Qasim, who is a paragon of community service, this brother, right? And Shamika Grayer, and so many more. So I mean, my work now is really, in addition to the campaign, whatever I can do, whatever expertise I can bring, because one thing that's just really, really near and dear to my heart here in Omaha, in Nebraska as a whole, is that, to my knowledge, there's not one environmental justice organization in the entire state, right? League Conservation Voters is not an environmental justice organization. Sierra Club, which was founded by a white supremacist, by the way, definitely not an environmental justice organization. And I mean, even the Boat Alliance, I mean, no shade on Chairman Woman Kleb, who's also the executive director of Boat Alliance, but that's not an environmental justice organization. And the proof of that is that North Omaha coal-fired power plant. Brother West wants to go see that himself. This is one of the dirtiest energy producers in the country. NAACP produced a report, my dear sister Jackie Patterson, back in 2017 called Cold Blooded, and it's in the top 20 as one of the most dirty and unhealthy plants in the entire country. And yet it's still going, right? Every single day, shortening the lives of young Black folk and our elder Black folk. And it's just wrong, right? Because you all know as well as I do that if that power plant was located in Dundee or Benson, they would have found a way to shut it down by now, and it'd probably be turned into like luxury loft apartments or something. You know what I mean? So so we have to do something about that, because it's a slow killer. And well, really what I also want to get into is that, we're talking about the Economic Recovery Fund, Brother McKinney and Brother Wayne. I know that it's having some issues, but another thing that we really have to get people versed on is Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. Not the greatest piece of legislation, but there are billions of dollars that are being funneled down right now by the federal government, and there's no reason in hell why local Omaha organizations and collectives, whether it's Black Agenda Alliance or One Omaha or Inclusive Communities, so many more, who don't even know about it, right? Who don't even know how to apply for it. And this is where we got to watch out with some, as you were saying, with some of these nonprofits, especially white-led nonprofits. They know about it. I guarantee you that Boat Alliance is going to get some of that money. But if you're not spreading the wisdom and the knowledge, then you're definitely not going to be spreading the wealth. So I really hope to work with sisters like Kimra, sisters like Shamika, sisters like Professor Terry Crawford, and many, many more, of making sure that we get our money. You know what I mean? Because it's really meant to be going into communities like North Omaha. But if you don't know about it, you're not going to apply for it.
Man, and after you know about it and trying to apply for it even is an issue too. Sometimes we need a little bit of help and training on that. So shout out to organizations that are what's the one that was helping do some of that kind of training?
With Spark,
yeah, organizations like Spark that have been doing that kind of work. So it's really interesting. I did not realize you're in town. You have moved back to Omaha. Didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it makes sense that you're going to head up. Dr. Cornel West coming on in, and you're a co-manager. You said so. makes sense that you're going to be here hosting him and take him over to see some things like the coal plant that they've just been kicking the can down the road, saying they're going to close and haven't closed for years. So, yeah, very, very interesting stuff. You're getting a lot of love in the chat, but Kimber Snipe says, appreciate you. Ron's review saying, please hit the like button if you're over on YouTube and Facebook. Again, if you miss any parts of these conversations that we're having today, you can always go back to Facebook and YouTube, check them out again, and check out the chat when you do. We have a very special chat. Brother, since you haven't been on our show since the Mind and Soul days, let me tell you about the chat real quick. We call them our co-hosts. We don't have regular chats where you got people in there that are just spewing out stuff and trolling and so on. These are people that understand that they're in the chat to speak to us like we're speaking face to face. So anybody who has any questions for the brother, please go ahead and put those in the chat. I'll read those out. And if you have any questions for us in the chat chambers, please do so as well.
Yeah.
So brother Cornell West is coming into town, which is
yes, sir.
Tell me one thing. I've personally been trying to figure out how we can spread the word more about his visit. Let me tell me from your perspective what you see this town lacking in its communication on things as important as Dr. Cornell West coming to town. What do you see?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think we're getting a lot of grassroots help. You know, we're going to have some amazing speakers. You know, Brother West doesn't come into town and parachute in, right? He wants to hear from local organizers and focus on them and showcase them. So we got, you know, a speaker from Black Agenda Alliance. Sister Ashley Spivey is going to be speaking as well, Brother Graham Christensen. So that's like helping, you know, my partner's helping with some grassroots efforts. And then it's just the places we're going to be going to all day. Right, Brother West is, you know, at first he was just going to go to a classroom for a teacher that I knew at North High. And then this teacher said, oh, Brother West is coming to my class. And they're like, no, you can't do that. You got to share the wealth. So now he's speaking to, you know, it's basically going to be an assembly. Mm-hmm. So that's going to help out. And then we're heading over to see Sister Terry Crawford at the Community Engagement Center. But Brother West is really excited to see this Undoing the Underline the Red Line exhibit, which I got, you know, a chance to see just a couple of days ago when Sister Crawford hosted me. And I was like, yeah, this is right up his alley. So, you know, the Black Studies department is also helping with some boosting of information. And then I got to give a shout out to my dear brother, Zach Schmieder from the Sydney, you know, who's hosting Brother West for an after party on Tuesday. Brother West is going to DJ a little bit before speaking to some more supporters, you know.
I thought it was just a rumor, man. That's really happening.
No, that's really happening. This man has, I think, 3 or 4 albums he's produced. He's like done albums with like Rakim and Talib Kweli and
Andre 3000.
Andre 3000 is the first discussion I had with Brother West when we met in person after I came on the campaign. We were driving to his home in Manhattan from New Jersey, and we got into a disagreement about who the best jazz bass player was. We didn't even talk about politics. You know, he almost fired me because I was like, it's obviously Paul Chambers, but he's very good friends with Ron Carter. Who no shade on Ron Carter, but you know, but yeah, so he's very musically oriented in addition to being, you know, obviously a scholar. You know, had his teaching at Princeton at 23 years old. So this really is a treat. And we're just really, really happy that our young folk are going to get to, you know, have some time with Brother West. And, you know, he also wants to use this time to showcase the importance of reproductive justice getting on the ballot for everybody to vote on next November. You know, this assault on women's bodies and their healthcare choices and their decisions by, you know, mainly white men is obviously unacceptable. And you know, one thing he is going to bring up is the fact that, you know, he's running as an independent, and we'll talk about that more. He only needs 2,500 signatures to get on the ballot to be the president of the United States, right? Or at least get voted on in Nebraska. Whereas you need like 140,000 signatures to get an initiative on a ballot. And to him, that just doesn't make a lot of sense. And it shows more about why he's running not as a Democrat, not as a Republican, because we call them the derelict duopoly. I mean, both parties are corrupt, both parties are bought, and both parties, I mean, you know, quite frankly, we're being honest, have done nothing for Black people. I mean, I want to be clear, right? When Joe Biden, it was declared that he was going to be the president-elect, he went up on that stage and said, Black people have always had my back, and I'm always going to have yours. About 4 years into his presidency, you know, Black unemployment rate still twice as high as white folk. Black household wealth, not income, household wealth, about $18,000 compared to $175,000 for the average white household. Still have massive police violence. couldn't get John Lewis Voting Rights Act passed and whatnot. And then we got this climate crisis, which is also exacerbating and disproportionately impacting us. And we don't even need to talk about the Republicans and what they've done to our people. But this is very, very important. This is a serious election. This is a serious campaign. And if nothing else, I mean, you know, Brother Wayne was on the show just the other day. A third of his district, he says, are registered as independents. More and more people are registering as independents because they understand that both parties are bought and sold. Even our black leaders, right? Brother West likes to talk about the great Glenn Ford, who has an amazing book called Black Agenda. And the great Glenn Ford, no longer with us, referred to the Black misleadership class. And the Democrats is full of them, from Hakeem Jeffries to Richie Torres, all the way down, you know, to the local and state level, certain county commissioners. I'm going to be a good guy today and not use any names, but just do your own research. You know, these are Democrats, right? And you can't just come into our communities every 2 and 4 years and expect us to save democracy and save the country and then turn around and sacrifice us after we did that. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what happened between 2020 and now.
Man, a lot to unpack. I can see we're going now that we know you're in town, we're going to have you back on several times to talk about some of these things. But before we get to it, because we do have some special guests coming on here, I just want to make sure that we're keeping track of time in the sense of agreements right now. It's 8:02 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're here with Anthony Rogers-Wright, who is on the campaign of Dr. Cornel West, who will be in town on Tuesday. We have been talking all week long about the Independent Party. We definitely want to hear from you about that. But before we do that, I just want to jump into the chat real quick with a couple of questions. Whitney Richardson, who was our First Guy Omaha family resident political analyst, says, why do you decide to get involved with the West campaign? So before we get into that discussion about the independent side, well, you personally, why did you decide to get into the West campaign?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you know, I first met Brother West back in 2016 when I was a policy advisor and surrogate for Senator Bernie Sanders. And I mean, but vicariously, I've known the brother my whole life, from Race Matters, you know, and all of his scholarship, right? My mom used to make me read those like 2 chapters a day so I could play Nintendo for 30 minutes. I had to read 2 chapters of Brother West books and other things.
That's quality parenting right there. Quality
parenting. Yeah, well, she was a professor, you know. But you know, I mean, for me, I'd left the Democratic Party in 2016. I like to say I got off the DNC plantation and I'm never going back. You know, I'm never going back on it. And just knowing Brother West, his corpus of work, his morality, and you're going to see it yourself when he comes onto the show. The brother is exactly who he is. And, you know, I also understood that there was an opportunity to have a real discussion with people of the United States, especially communities like ours. And, you know, just the idea that young folk, like the young folk at North High, are seeing a Black man of this stature running for president of the United States, whether he wins or not, we've already won by young Black folk being like, I can definitely do that. You know, I can definitely go to college. I can definitely become a 23-year-old professor at an Ivy League institution, though I would say to the young folk, become a professor at a public college, because when Brother West is president, all public universities from UNO, UNL, Metro, they're all going to be 100% free. That's what I believe in. But he also, you know, shares a lot of my values as it pertains to climate and environmental justice, the fact that there is a white supremacy ideology ensconced in both of these major political corporate parties. And I just knew from the outset that, you know, after, you know, really buying into it and holding my nose and voting for Biden in 2020, all freaked out about, oh, fascism this and fascism that, and then realizing that Joe Biden is a fascist, right? Let's talk about Cop City. Atlanta, Cop City, you know, folk being charged with RICO charges, domestic terrorism charges, just for hiding out in trees. Our dear sibling Tortuguita shot 57 times, indigenous tree forest protector, by police. That's a Democratic construct in a Black city, right? You want to talk about fascism, the Uhuru Collective, the African People's Socialist Party, all being raided by Biden's Department of Justice. So, I mean, yeah, there's fascism on the right, but there's also neoliberal fascism on the center. You know, I don't call the Democratic Party a left party. They are a center party. Let's be clear, right? They are a center party. They're not a leftist party. And so just to follow up on that question, is my consciousness. I can't operate with that party anymore as a Black man, as a person who loves Black women, Black children, indigenous people, poor and working class people, right? I'm not a race reductionist. I'm not a class reductionist, but I will say, and I would challenge anyone who's trying to come at us right now. Oh, a vote for Cornel West is a vote for Trump. No, a vote for Trump is a vote for Trump. A vote for Cornel West is a vote for Cornel West. And one last thing that I'll say is just that I really have to ask people to not fall into the lies of the Democratic Party, right? They tried to blame brother Ralph Nader for Gore losing in 2000. That's not even the truth, though, right? If Gore would have won his own home state of Tennessee, he wouldn't have had to win Florida. So that's first, right? Even Walter Mondale, who got shellacked by Reagan in 88 or 80, was it 88 or 84? One of those years. He still won his home state. He lost all other 49 states, but he won the state of Minnesota. Gore didn't do that. We also got to talk about what Bill Clinton did when he failed the Elian Gonzalez situation in Florida, pissing off the entire Cuban population because he botched that. That led to Al Gore losing. And then in 2016, I just want to say this, people trying to blame Sister Jill Stein, who is a dear friend. And, she's also running for president, but she's a dear friend. Let's tell the truth. Jill Stein did not take that election from Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was a flawed candidate. She called us super predators. Okay, I'm going to go straight up and say that she is a racist. Okay, but the truth of the matter is, and here are the numbers, and I'll send them to you right now. I'm looking at them right here. The number of Bernie supporters in the primary who voted for Trump far exceeded the number of people who voted for Jill Stein in certain states. For instance, in Michigan, there were 598 people who voted for Bernie in the primary. 47,000 of them then voted for Trump. Trump's margin of victory was 10,000 in Michigan. Pennsylvania, 117,000 Bernie supporters then voted for Trump. Trump's margin of victory, 44,000. So you're seeing more people switched over to Trump than Trump's margin of victory. So again, it wasn't Jill Stein, it wasn't third-party candidates. And yeah, we're trying to make some noise. We think that we can win CD2 100% because this is a district of independent-minded people. And the proof of it is 2020. Right? Joe Biden won this district, but Don Bacon won his seat back. Which means, right, that people voted for Biden and then didn't vote. They rejected Kara Eastman, who lost by more in 2020 than she did in 2018. So that's the other reason why I'm on this campaign, to give people an idea that there's more choices. We got to break this two-party system, or we're never going to get ours as Black, brown, poor, white, working class, indigenous people, because these parties are both, they're bought, they're sold, and they just do not care about the everyday issues about what everyday people are going through.
Man, and kind of speaking of that, as far as everyday people and what their issues are, what they're resonating with, what they feel is speaking to them. Again, we went over the article about your guys' recent visit to Minnesota and how you were kind of talking about, how Dr. Cornel West is again appeasing or kind of relating to across different backgrounds and age, range. Kind of what are you saying specifically from young folk out there? How are they responding to the Cornel West message, if you will?
I mean, we were just in Utah at the University of Utah, absolutely packed. I mean, people in passion. On a ride with Brother West, we called some young folk because we're going to be heading to Michigan early next year, saying you really are our only chance right now. When you see the issues that young folk are, most that's speaking to them most: climate change, student loan debt, and now this situation, this genocide happening in Gaza right now. I mean, these people are all moving away from the Democratic Party. Young folk, 18 to 34. If you look at the polls, Biden's losing to Trump with young people right now. How is that possible? So I think that we got a lot of work to do. I don't want to be reductive of that, but I mean, young people are our constituency. I mean, you're talking about a college professor who DJs, who can dance, but most importantly speaks to the issues that young people are telling him. Not going to do some focus tests or pay some white consultants millions of dollars to then tell us, oh, this is what's safe to say, this is what you shouldn't say. No, talking to the people directly, because my phone doesn't ring when these posters call. I don't know if y'all's ring either, but you're not going to get the information you need about young people from some focus groups. You're going to get it by going and speaking. So showing up is very, very important which is another reason why we're coming to Omaha. We're the first presidential campaign to come to Omaha. I do hope that we're not the last. I hope Chairwoman Klebb can convince Biden to come here as well. We'd love to debate Joe Biden any day, any time. Like name the place. We'll come to D.C. We'll go to Rehoboth Beach, wherever you are, Nantucket. You know, we can't go meet Joe Biden at the climate summit in Dubai right now because he skipped. But that's all right. So young. I mean, this is a major issue. And then of course reproductive justice is a huge issue for young people. Not whether you're pro-abortion or anti-abortion. We're talking about reproductive justice and the idea that the government can tell you what you can and can't do with your body is just not attractive to people, I think, of any age, which is why we're seeing reproductive justice win in so-called red states like Kansas and more recently like Ohio, right? So, I think that young people are coming to us in droves, and we have an HBCU tour planned in February. That's how we're going to be spending Black History Month. We need to send our HBCUs. It's like my mom used to say, we call Harvard the White Howard.
Okay.
And making them front and center because they are producing incredible leaders, our future leaders, the future Kimmeras, the future Shamikas, the future Ashley Spideys, the future us, as well.
I mean,
so,
I'm HBCU grad. Shout out to family.
Hey, there it is. Yeah. See, I couldn't go to Howard because my mom taught there. She would have found out a lot of things that she didn't necessarily need to know about.
She wasn't ready for it yet.
Right. You know what you're saying, like Miss Jackson on the block back in the day. You know what your son did.
Hey, speaking of young folks, we have got word that a lot of young folks have been when they get into politics, they go independent. We've been talking about this independent situation here a long time. We know that Brother West went from the People's Party to the Green Party to the Independent Party. Why? What's going on with the Independent Party? We need more information about the Independent Party, please.
Yeah. So just to be clear, it's not a part. He's just running as an independent, right? So right now, I wasn't on the campaign yet with the People Party situation, but I understand that there's just some issues that drove him to the Green Party. The Green Party, who I have massive respect for. However, there was a sense of paternalism, and the Green Party has had a very difficult time with extending that outreach to Black folk, to brown folk, to poor folk. And so, and then, Brother West really just wanted to come up with his own platform. We call it the policy pillars rooted in truth, justice, and love. The Green Party already had their platform and expected you to adhere to it 100%. And so, there was some lack of congruency and whatnot. But again, we are so happy that Sister Jill Stein is running for the Green Party nomination because we want there to be more voices to increase democracy. So whether it's RFK Jr., Jr., who's also running as an independent, or maybe there's no label situation, that's going to give people more choices. And let me just say like one last thing in terms of like, switching parties and going independent. This is not the first time a third party candidate of stature has run for office. We can go back to 1860, where a pretty well-known president, his name was Abraham Lincoln, won with 39%. At that time, the Republicans were a third party, almost an independent party. They broke away from the Whigs, and he became president. And we all know some things happened that were pretty significant for us as Black folks when Lincoln became president. So, I mean, this is an unbought, unsold, and very, very principled man. Sometimes I say like principled to a fault. I mean, it's just there's almost like too much integrity, for this brother to be getting into politics. But he looks at me, he's like, why? Why would we say like someone has too much integrity, too much morality to get into politics? That's very sad to me, brother, that people think that way. And by running as an independent, we are also forming our sort of our own organization. And the blueprint is very simple. I mean, we will go to states like Utah, find independent candidates like we did with our dear brother Michael Valentine, who was running for Salt Lake City mayor. Okay, he was a former houseless person. He got 10% of the vote. He raised $50,000 for his entire campaign and still got 10% of the vote. So now that operation, now that election is over. They're working for Brother West now in the state of Utah. And we're going to plan to do the same thing here and align with all of our amazing people who are trying to get reproductive justice on the ballot, an independent, nonpartisan thing. and also see how we can assist with that effort as they assist with our efforts of getting on the ballot. So this is really about declaring our independence and saying you don't need millions and millions of dollars from corporations and quite frankly, white supremacist super PACs like AIPAC, American Israeli Political Action Committee, who bought both parties. Right? The Democrats and the Republicans are owned by AIPAC, which is why you're seeing some horrible votes go on right now as it pertains to Palestinian liberation and dignity. Brother West has been a staunch advocate, not for like some milquetoast two-state solution, but real liberation for Palestinian people, real liberation for Black folk, real liberation for indigenous people, and real liberation for poor and working class people. The Democrats are not going to allow a candidate to run on reparations and land back. Okay. And when Brother West says reparations, he says within 2 years, I want the checks going out. And within 2 years, I want a land back initiative for indigenous people. Democrats aren't going to let us run on that because they're scared that that would push away white people. So, and even the Green Party wasn't necessarily as into like, we were like, no, we don't want any more commissions. We're done with the studies and the reports. Cash money, okay, for an unpaid debt. Right, and cash money for brutal land theft of the the original people of this country are beautiful indigenous siblings. So that was the other reason. It allows us to get a lot bolder and to get ideas that we don't have to jump through hoops through anymore. Brother West wants to say it, he's just going to say it. And that's the brother that he's been for like almost half a century. I'm not aging you, Brother West, but you are 70.
Hey,
he DJing at the Sydney. He ain't got no
That's
age.
what I'm saying. Exactly.
There you go. But I'm kind of hearing, and we are kind of running short on time, so I just want to cut to it.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll have to have you back, and looking forward to speaking to Dr. West on Monday. But for you, just as a co-campaign manager, I'm hearing you talk about how this might inspire the next generation. We a lot of times when we hear about a candidate running for third party, there's not a lot of hope. You know what I mean? But how do you are you really in this to win? Is this a moral victory thing? What is the perspective?
All right, so when you see that we are coming to Nebraska, as well as going to Utah, right? Before we went to sort of so-called swing states like Michigan and Pennsylvania, that's your answer right there. It was very important to me even before I moved back here, right? And I spoke to Brother Graham about this long ago. Got to bring more candidates. This is an important state, right? That delegate could prevent or be the reason why a candidate gets 270 electoral votes to become the president. Brother West said we have a 50-state strategy. This is not a vanity exercise. I wouldn't be a part of it if it was. I looked him right in the eye, right? And we're in this to win this. I mean, we do believe that there's a pathway for this man to become president of the United States, especially with how many candidates are running, more third-party candidates, and then in a very, very long time. And like I said, as part of winning the presidency, we do believe that we're going to inspire the next generation and let them know you don't have to fall into this derelict duopoly. You can be an independent, unbought, unsold, Black, brown, indigenous, poor, white, LGBTQIA, whoever you are. You don't need to be, shackled by party politics. You're about to have Brother Qasim on, right? Mm-hmm. Speaking about a brother who always preaching about unshackling your mind, your body, your soul, your heart, right? That's why he's a paragon of public service, also an independent. So, I mean, I'm going to follow leaders like Brother Qasim, and I hope that, Brother West being here, Brother Qasim is doing Brother West security. We're taking security seriously.
Right. Yeah, that's a fact. Don't play.
This is going to be the safest day in Cornell West life. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, we are in this, but in the process of it, inspiring the next generation, because that's the most important thing. We don't want to be stuck in a situation like the Democratic Party right now, where you got no bench, right? You have no bench, so you kind of have to pick from a pool of milquetoast candidates to try to go up against a juggernaut like Don Bacon. We want there to be a wide bench, the next Megan Hunts, right? The next Ernie Chambers, and people like that who have amazing politics and are looking for a home. And we're going to start building it with people right now.
There you go.
Anthony Rogers-Wright, appreciate you coming through. We will definitely have you back. Man.
Yes. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely, bro. Peace. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. You getting what's going on around here. We're gonna take a quick break, man. We got Brother Qasim waiting in the wings. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Call Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Brother Qasim and Dr. Umar will be on coming up. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Don't touch nothing.
The role that the Jews play. They're a bunch of megalomaniac warmongers.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us on this December the 1st.
Man.
First of the month, man. Appreciate everybody that's come through. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to read all of your comments. If you missed any parts of those interviews, though, with Brother Anthony Rogers-Wright, please go back. Check it out in its entirety on Facebook or YouTube, especially. And when you're at YouTube, please like and subscribe, and check out the chat in both social media venues, please. We definitely want to read what was going on here in YouTube and the Facebook chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely some good feedback from you guys. So thanks for everybody that's joining us today. And it is now time for us to bring on our special guest. We have Brother Dr. Umar. I want to say, I keep on wanting to say Johnson, but that's who he's on. But Infatunde next. Yes, Brother Umar Infatunde is Dr. Umar Infatunde is next up with Brother Qasim. And man, this is the beginning. I swear, this is the beginning of Power Weekend. It's going down, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Umar, Brother Qasim. Good morning to you, brothers. How y'all doing?
Good Garvey Day. Glad to be with you from Boston.
Oh, in Boston now. Okay. Cool. What's happening out there? You speaking engagement?
Yes, sir. Spoke last night.
Okay. That's what's up. How'd it go?
Excellent. Went excellent. A lot of love in Boston.
Okay. Sweet. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. Again, this is the second time we brought Dr. Umar on. Brother Qasim is also with it. How you doing this morning, Brother Qasim?
Man, just getting ready for this military mind state, man. You know, we got a lot going on, so I'm doing just fine. I'm in my elements.
Word, I hear that.
Yeah, excited for the weekend. I've been hearing that ticket sales are picking up. So again, getting a lot of support from the community. That's beautiful. Can you kind of give the details? Let the people know again. Remind them what's going down tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
4-year Black Agenda Alliance anniversary. We are the only Pan-Africanist organization in the state of Nebraska, and what we're doing is we're celebrating our success, and we felt that Dr. Umar Infatunde was the best he fit in his delivery and that and what he represents. So we got the best of the best, man. You know, so that's what that's all about. We party too much, and we don't know the difference between that and celebrating. So we're celebrating victories. Yeah, we have a long way to go, but you know, we didn't put in a lot of work, and this is what it is. That's where we at.
Man, I like that designation again. It's kind of separating partying and celebrating. You know, partying, you just out there with the willy nilly, but celebrating, there's some intent, there's some focus, there's some direction going. So, excited to celebrate again. You know, the work that the BAA is doing. Definitely looking forward to hearing you speak, Dr. Umar. I'm kind of curious. Without, I guess, giving away the whole speech, what can we anticipate as far as your topic tomorrow? What will be discussed?
Well, I normally try to hit a little bit of everything. Current consciousness, Pan-Africanism, of course, education and mental health for the children as well as the adults. economic crisis, political economy of the Black community, male-female relationships. I try to offer an entire course of subject matter whenever I speak. I try not to limit it to just one topic.
There you go.
Love it. I love it. I was talking to folks and we were saying that when you come to speak, we were hoping that you would have some time to do some teaching. Sounds like that's going to be a part of what it is that you're going to talk about too. Just not, I think somebody told me that that when a speaker comes to speak to Omaha to black organizations or black people, it's always an emotional plea. Whereas, in other communities and white communities, they're trying to they're trying to glean, they're trying to learn something, trying to get the education, trying to get the plan, and so we need that as well. And so we need to get to get instruction by folks that are out here doing the work like you. So sounds like some of your speech is going to be some instruction as well. Am I correct with that?
All of my speech is instruction. If you follow me, solutions, it's instructions, it's everything.
I feel that very much so. Yeah, we're calling it Power Weekend, man. We got a lot going on. Shout out to Beeee. I like how Ron's reviews in the chat says when Brother Qasim is on, I feel like we had to sit up straight. Heard that. And we feel that way. We feel that way about our special guest today, man, in a big way. So really appreciate you taking the time to come back. You said you were in Boston. How's the response? You said the response was good in Boston. I picture of Boston as just this, this white town that they got a movement out there. What's going on in Boston?
They definitely have a movement out here. It is a white town. It is, no question. Mm-hmm. New England. It's the heart of New England. But the brothers and sisters here in Boston and throughout Massachusetts, I spoke in Norwood, particularly last night. Norwood is about 45 minutes from Boston. So I spoke in Norwood, and the brothers and sisters throughout Massachusetts, they're a pretty serious, underestimated group. I mean, they got the economic thing that they're working on. There's a lot that they're doing in the community. It's pretty positive here, believe it or not. There's a lot of conscious energy in Boston. Of course, they would like it to be more, but I'm pretty impressed for a city to have such a small Black population. I'm very impressed to see what the Black Boston is doing.
Beautiful, beautiful. Actually, big news about the basketball player, brother Jaylen Brown, who plays for the Boston Celtics, signing a huge historic deal and pledging a good percentage of that deal to the low-income Black and brown community of Boston. So that's very interesting to hear that there's a lot of energy. And we, again, just got off the line with Anthony Rogers-Wright, co-director for Dr. Cornel West. And I'm kind of curious, as you travel around, Dr. Umar, what is the pulse that you're feeling as we get into this next election cycle? What do you think expect from the people? Are we expecting a lot of lip service, a lot of activity? What are you seeing from the people as you travel?
I think fear. I think that the Black electorate, by way of the Democratic Party, is still being controlled by fear. I think a lot of Black people think they've decided not to vote next November, but as it gets closer to that date and the gatekeepers of the Democratic Party and the Congressional Black Caucus and Joe Biden's army, as we get closer to Election Day, I think they're going to make a lot of Black people feel bad about not voting. I think they're going to use fear, the image of Donald Trump as the big, the great white evil. And they're going to manipulate a lot of Black people to coming out to the polls. It's the only way they've been getting Black people to vote for the past 20 or 30 years. It's through fear, because we're definitely not motivated through concessions and resources, because we never get anything. We never got anything from Clinton. We never got anything from Obama, from Bush, from Trump, or from Joe Biden. So when we go vote, unlike every other group in this country, we're not voting for change because we don't get change. We are voting out of fear that if we let the other guy win, it might be worse. So Black people are still trapped into this idea of voting for the lesser of the two evils. And from where I stand, evil is evil. It ain't greater or lesser. It's evil. And I don't think Black people have any option right now between Trump and Joe Biden. One of the things we're going to be doing with the Bishop Turner National Independent Black Political Movement at the start of the new year, we're going to be registering folks up to join in with us, which is basically saying we're not voting along party lines. We're voting along a Black community line. And if you want the votes that we have organized together under this movement, you're going to have to come and have a conversation with us and grant us some public concessions. Without that, you're not getting our vote. And so that's something we're going to be doing through the National Independent Black Political Movement at the start of the new year.
Beautiful, beautiful. What was the name of that party? What was the name?
Bishop Turner. It's not a party. It's a
Okay,
movement.
okay,
Bishop
okay.
Turner National Independent Black Political Movement. I named it after Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, one of our greatest Pan-Africanists, who was called Marcus Garvey. Before Marcus Garvey, this is the black man who said God was black. He's one of the first blacks elected during Reconstruction, but he was ultimately unseated with the other blacks in Georgia when they were voted out by the white folks after the U.S. government removed the federal troops from the South during the Great Compromise of 1877. Bishop Turner was one of the bishops of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. He's most responsible for spearheading the growth of that church into the African continent. He actually took black people back to Africa. He's the first chaplain general in the U.S. Military by way of serving in the Civil War. A very understudied and unknown about hero and ancestor of ours who did it on the political front. He did it on the religious front. He did it on the Pan-Africanist front. And we need to study Bishop Turner. He transitioned right before Marcus Garvey arrived in America.
Man,
wow. Sounds like that's going to be in one of the history books in your school.
Oh, hands down, hands down. In fact, as far as the school concerned, we're putting on the finishing touches right now. I'm trying to get in contact with some of these I don't know how to describe them. The art companies that make the information boards for the museum. I don't know what that's called. If anybody knows what that's called, please let me know. But we want the hallways of FDMG to pretty much be a museum. We're going to have a Pan-Africanism timeline, the Honorable Marcus Garvey timeline, Honorable Frederick Douglass timeline. And so I'm trying to get in touch with the company that makes those information boards. So when you're walking through the museum, everything you see is on an information board, but I don't think they call them information boards. So I'm trying to find out, what is that called and who do I go to get those made? That's what I'm researching right now. So if anybody knows anyone who works in a museum, I may need to call around to some of the black museums that I know about because I'm ready to get started on getting these, getting the visual aspect of the decorations of the school put in place.
man,
We might have to reach out to Joanna LaFleur, who's director over there at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation. They're getting ready to turn themselves into a museum, and I'm sure she's looking at all that stuff. So maybe we reach out to her.
Powerful.
Yeah. Also, speaking of the school, I was here when you spoke for actually I believe that was either Malcolm X or Garvey I think that was Garvey's celebration at the Shrine of Black Madonna. And you had broke the news about your school getting close to finishing and kind of final touches. As far as timeline, when are you expecting people to be able to enroll in things like that?
No timeline until we absolutely done.
Okay.
And the reason I'm done with the timelines is every time I think I got a grip on it, something comes up to set us back. So I just think the message from Spirit is stop giving out the timelines. The only thing that I would say is we are relatively certain that our community grand opening, not the student grand opening, but community grand opening will take place sometime next year. If not spring, then probably for our third annual FDMG Festival, which is normally held the second week of September. That'll probably be when everything will be ready to be rolled out for the community. So definitely community grand opening next year. It might be a little too tight for us to be ready for the students by August, especially with all the delays that we keep coming up against. So just to give you an example of one of the delays we're dealing with, for about a month now, I've been trying to reach out to the fire marshal's office to make sure that it's okay for us to put some fencing on our large windows because somebody put a brick through one of our windows. When the reactionary Negroes did that. So we have to get the window repaired, and the window company is ready to repair. But when we take off the wooden boards from the windows, we want to make sure we can put something over those windows to protect them. We don't want to have to keep getting, windows replaced every other week because somebody's trying to undermine the mission. So they haven't returned our call. I had my lawyers reach out. Fire marshal's office hasn't returned the lawyer's call. So that's just give you an idea of why, I can't give you a timeline because we should have got an answer the first day we called. I mean, it's not a difficult question. Can we put the bars on the window? Is there a certain kind we need to put on it? He's never responded. It's been over a month. So these are the small little things that can really keep pushing back the timeline. Because to be honest with you, gentlemen, I don't think the city really thought we would get the school done. I really don't. And now that we've gotten it done, I guess they're just going to try to prolong this as much as possible.
And where is that again? Kind of
Wilmington, Delaware, 20 minutes from the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania International Airport.
There you go.
So I don't know how much you know about issues here in Omaha, Nebraska. When we've been talking a lot about what's going on with this school choice situation. We've had some senators that were pushing to be able to have vouchers for people, with the end result of us being able to build our own schools here.
It's a trap. It's a trap. The voucher system is a trap unless you have independent black schools who are going to take advantage of that voucher system so that the money will simply flow from the district over into the independent African school. And we don't have many independent African schools, which means that most of our parents, if they elect to use the voucher, they're going to be sending their children to private white schools or parochial schools. And when you look at the tuition for these white schools and parochial schools, those tuitions can range anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 a year.
Man.
So if Omaha Public Schools is giving you a voucher for $7,000 and you're a single mother, keeping in mind that 2/3 of all of our children are raised by single mothers, and you get a $7,000 voucher for each of your 3 children, and you're taking them to a private school, parochial school that costs $12,000 a year, you're still short $15,000 for those 3 children. Where are they going to make up the difference? And I'm bringing it up to say that the voucher system, it only benefits middle class parents, unless you have 2 incomes in that house, or you have a mother or father who's in a super profession, an extremely successful business owner, a doctor, engineer, something of that hue. It's going to be difficult for black parents, especially our single mothers, to make ends meet. So for me, the voucher system is not a solution for black people. It's a solution for white people who don't want their children going to school with black children. They can simply drain the school district of much needed funds and redirect that money over to a private school or an independent school. It's not a solution for us because most of our parents will still have a difficult time offsetting the difference in tuition from the $7,000 hypothetically you get from the voucher to the $15,000 you're ultimately, or $12,000 that you're ultimately going to need to pay to satisfy tuition for that child. Now, if you got 1 kid, you can make it happen. But if you got multiple children, even with that voucher money, you're still 40, 30, 50% in arrears for covering that tuition for the year. So a lot of our people will not benefit from vouchers. Only the middle class will benefit from vouchers.
Yep, the chat agreeing. Miss Erica Feld in the chat, one of our resident child care providers, saying, yeah, private schools here on average cost about $18,000 per year.
Look at that.
That's close to what I paid for college. I mean,
exactly. 18, and some of them are more than that. I know private schools like $30,000. I do intelligence testing. A lot of times the private schools want an intelligence test, especially from black children, to make sure there's no intellectual disability. So I do a lot of the IQ testing for parents who are trying to enroll their children in these private schools. And I can tell you, they're paying top dollar, to go to these schools. And again, with that voucher, you're getting $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 if they're giving you that much. Because a lot of the vouchers that I've seen were only like $5,000, but you might find some that are like 7 or 8. But like you said, even with that, if the tuition is $18,000 and they only gave you 8, where are you going to get the other $10,000 times 2, 3, 4 children? It's not a realistic possibility for black parents. It's simply a distraction to make black parents think they have an option, while middle class white people rob our school districts of much needed funding and take it over to the private schools. Many of whom, here's the other thing too, even if you can afford it. Let's say you can afford it, you still got a problem. You want to know why? You got to get accepted into that private school.
That's what I was going to say.
And not only do you got to get accepted into that private school, you have to keep your grades up and behavior in control long enough to remain in that private school. So money is the obvious initial barrier, but guess what? The color of your skin is the obvious second barrier, because white schools are very aggressive and hostile to black children, especially our boys. So imagine now you get your $8,000 voucher and your mother has paid up to $5,000 on the remaining $10,000 balance on an $18,000 tuition. She got 5,000 more. She's paying it off, but she getting phone calls every day about your behavior. Phone calls every day about how you're not keeping up with the work. Not because you can't do it. They're just nitpicking because they don't want you in there. And the one thing Black parents need to understand, if your child has an IEP, if they had an IEP in public or charter school, they do not have to be accepted into private schools. Let me say that again. A private school can legally refuse. They are legally allowed to discriminate against children with disabilities under the excuse that they do not have the services to meet the needs of disabled children. So guess what? Our IEP children, you can just cross them off the list when you're talking about private schools because they don't have to accept them.
Man.
I really appreciate how you broke that down. That makes a lot of sense. It is bringing up the question for me though. What do you do if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, and we have a failed public school system? Tony Johnson in the chat is saying, "What is option when Omaha schools are failing for decades? We don't have any Black schools here that we can appreciate those vouchers for, and we have a failing public school system here in our state, according to some. What do we do then?"
And see, this is one of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow in Omaha. And this is why I want everybody to come on out there. 24th Street. Doors open at 3 o'clock. And by the way, this is only my second visit ever to Omaha. My first visit was February the 1st, Black History Month, 2016. So tomorrow's visit will be 2 months shy of 8 years. I was last in Omaha, which was my first and only time being in Omaha. It's been 8 years. But with that being said, I got a problem with the fact that our single mothers don't have more educational options for our children. And it really boils my blood, especially during this time of year, because what are we doing right now? Hemorrhaging billions of dollars for Christmas gifts. That's what Black America is doing. Whether it's Omaha, St. Louis, Kansas City, Des Moines, Louisville, Philly, New York, right here in Boston, Massachusetts, we are out hemorrhaging billions of dollars for Christmas gifts. How do we have time to spend so much money on useless gifts when our children don't even have a viable independent school in Omaha? All Christmas should be boycotted for any Black community that doesn't have an independent Black school. And all the money that was going to be spent on Christmas needs to go towards purchasing one of those abandoned school buildings in Omaha so we can give our children an opportunity at a better future.
You already know about the abandoned buildings.
Racism doesn't care about Black children, but neither does the Black community.
Man, yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that. But I am kind of curious because we see it not working. I have to agree, not working in Omaha. And there are some small scale things, but nothing. I mean, Nelson Mandela is the only thing that we can point to, in the community, and that's not even. I don't think that's independent. I think the Buffetts are behind that. So what around the country, what communities, in your opinion, are getting it right as far as independent Black schools?
Well, you do have some independent schools. You have the Marcus Garvey Shule over in Los Angeles. I don't think they have been charterized as of yet. There was a Marcus Garvey Academy in New York City. The 5 boroughs, unfortunately, I received, the sad news that they had to cease operations. There, you have Freedom Home Academy with Marcus Klein in Chicago. I believe Dr. Baruti still has his homeschool operation in Atlanta. You have several homeschool collectives around the country. But in terms of brick and mortar independent school, because that's what I'm about. I'm about need institutions. You need institutions. You cannot grow a community without institutions. Programs that are not institutionalized sooner or later die because they don't have the foundation of an institution. There's probably about 30 to 50 truly independent African schools in this country. And of that 30 to 50, you might only have a dozen, including FDMG, that actually operates in a true school building.
Wow. Sounds like
it's not good. It's not good for people who are $2 trillion every year. Our gross national product is $2 trillion, $30 billion on hair, $30 billion on hair, $2 billion on Jordans annually, $4 billion on liquor annually, $800 million on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork annually, multiple billion on video games. And here's my issue with video games. If your son can't read on grade level, what the hell are you doing buying him a video game? You're literally investing in his future incarceration, because the video game is going to do what? Take him even further away from improving his reading skills. Take him even further away from improving his math skills. Take him even further away from improving his comprehension skills. So for all these parents out here who are buying toys and electronic devices that are going to distract their children from academic focus, they're simply investing in their children's future incarceration, and they don't even know it.
I like how brother Anthony Rogers-Wright, who was just on the show just a second ago, said his mom made him read read a bunch of books before he can play a game. That was his choice. That his price to pay to play the game for a little while. So, yeah.
And the reason everybody's comfortable with Black children being addicted to electronics is it makes the adults' lives that much easier.
It's a distraction.
In other words, I've heard of classrooms where the children come in, and because they are on their phone, they're not disrupting the teacher. And since the teacher doesn't really care about teaching anyway and just wants to have a nice, smooth day, the teacher lets them sit there the entire period and play on their cell phones as long as they behave. Parents do the same thing. If you notice, we don't really look for child care too more once the child turns 8 years old. Before you needed child care until they was at least a good 12, 13.
True.
Now they stop child care, looking for child care at 6 and 7, because they know if my child got that video game, if they got that tablet, if they got that internet, if they got that smart TV, I could leave them in the house, in their room at 12 noon on a Saturday, and I can come back at 12 midnight, and they still in the same space.
The tablet is the new babysitter.
It's the tablet. So parents are saving a lot of money, but look at how we're losing. We're brainwashing and addicting an entire generation of Black children to electronic devices. And then when they go to school and can't pay attention, they want you to go put them on some medication and get an ADHD diagnosis. Video game addiction is a very real phenomenon. In fact, there has been some conversation within the American Psychiatric Association and American Psychological Association, and I'm no fans of either one of those white racist institutions, but there's been some conversation in both of those APAs that video game addiction should be included in the next DSM-6 or DSM-5 revised, which is the Mental Health Diagnostic Manual. I don't think that's going to happen, and I'm going to tell you guys why. The reason I don't think video game addiction will become a real thing in the mental health world is because the video game companies are so powerful, so influential. They have so many lobbyists in Capitol Hill. They will just simply pay off the American Psychiatric Association, the American Psychological Association, not to include video game addiction. Because if video game addiction becomes a mental illness, they stand to lose billions of dollars in video game sales. So they have a vested interest in making sure video game addiction never makes it into the diagnostical manual.
You know what's interesting? I remember reading about probably about 10 years ago, Japan declared video game addiction as an actual mental health situation and started limiting things in schools and at home for kids to look at that. So, that's Japan, light years ahead of what's going on in this country on that tip.
Oh, yeah.
I want to jump into the chat real quick. Brother Stephen Abraham has a question, and then I got a couple more questions I would like to, if you don't mind staying a few more minutes here.
We got until 10 a.m.
Sounds good.
All right.
Brother Abraham says, Dr. Umar and Qasim, LB 753 creates a dollar-for-dollar tax credit when making a contribution to a newly created organization that gives scholarships only to private school students. Can minorities in Nebraska benefit from this if done correctly? I was thinking that to protect the civil rights of minority groups, schools should establish comprehensive anti-discrimination policies that explicitly prohibit discrimination based on race, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual orientation, disability, or any other protected characteristic.
That already exists. The protection already exists. It's not being enforced. It's not being enforced. On the books, we have enough legal protections on the books. The problem is what? It's not being enforced. Remember, the job of Congress is to make the law. Supreme Court interprets it. It's the president's job to execute. Joe Biden isn't interested in executing any law on behalf of the American African community. So we have to start forcing the enforcement or implementation of these laws that are not on the books. There's already a law on the books that you can't discriminate on the basis of race or ethnicity in publicly funded programs, which includes public school, charter school, and even some of your private schools are publicly funded. Okay, the law is there. It's not being enforced. And one of the reasons it's not being enforced is Black people are not organizing to bring pressure against the racism that our children are facing in the schools. I'll give you two quick examples. On January the 31st, 2024, I'm going to be in Bunnell, Florida. Bunnell. Bunnell, Florida. I'm going to be leading a protest as part of the national movement to save Black boys, which is one of my organizations I founded many years ago, because we have an 18-year-old young man who at the age of 17, on the day Malcolm X joined the ancestors, February 21st, 2023, he physically assaulted a teacher's assistant inside of his high school in Palm Coast, Florida. He's been locked up in an adult jail since February the 21st, and he will be sentenced on January the 31st. So we're going to be at the courthouse, and anybody who wants to be there with us, we encourage you to come and join us. The reason we're going down there to stand in solidarity with this young man is he could be sentenced to a maximum of 30 years. 30 years. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't ever want to see a woman get assaulted. I don't care if she's black, white, blue, yellow, orange, or purple. I don't want to see a woman get assaulted. But the argument that we're making is that the young man was victimized himself because his IEP team, his special education team, did not properly cater to the young man's needs. He should have never been in that school. He's diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. He's diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder, autism, ADHD, among other diagnoses. Why in the hell was he in a public school at all? He should have been in a full-time residential treatment program paid for by the State Department of Education in Florida. So as a result of him not getting what he should have had, the teacher ends up getting assaulted. Okay, so we're going down there to stand in solidarity with the fact that this young man's rights was violated over and over and over again, and none of these white people stepped in to do anything about it. That's one case. The other case is right outside of Kansas City. In Kansas, there's a high school whose name I'm forgetting. You probably saw this on Instagram, where a 15-year-old young African princess, sophomore, was called the N-word, and her nose was broken by a white sophomore. This happened last Monday. The white sophomore who called the young sister the N-word and broke her nose was suspended for 3 days. The Black girl was suspended for 5.
What?
Yep.
How did the victim get suspended at all? But how did she get 5 and the man who called her the N-word and broke her nose only got 3? So I'm going to be reaching out to her parents to speak with them to see what they're willing to do. Because I think a protest in order. I'm told that the students, the Black students in the high school, it's not many. It's predominantly white city, predominantly white high school. But the Black students are sick and tired of all this racism taking place at that school. So the other organization that I have, the National Independent Black Parents Association, we're trying to set up a private meeting with the students and their parents in this small Kansas City to see whether or not they're ready to take this to the next level. We have to fight. And anybody who's watching this right now, if you're dealing with an incident with your child that you think needs to be dealt with, please reach out to Dr. Umar. If we can handle it with a consultation, we'll handle it with a consultation. But if it's something like Brendan's case in Florida where he can go to jail for 30 years, or if it's something like the young lady's case outside of Kansas City, Kansas, where she had her nose broken and called the N-word, she's been traumatized. She don't even want to go back to school. She don't even want to go back to the school, and the school isn't doing anything to look out for her. And so that's why we have the National Movement to Save Black Boys and the National Independent Black Parent Association. And anyone who wants to start a chapter of either organization in their city, please get in contact with me. But we are all about work. We are not an intellectual masturbation movement. We are very much about boots on the ground, fighting, organizing, and changing policies.
It's about movement. It's about movement. Active, not passive. Tony Johnson in the chat giving us the name of that school, Shawnee Mission East. And yes,
Shawnee Mission East.
Yep, the video is moving around. We've seen too many videos of black and brown bodies being brutalized. So if you don't want to watch that, I definitely understand. But thank you for speaking to that, because that is an issue. I'm also thinking of the brother that's with the ancestors now, Brother Kendrick Johnson, and that whole story. Again, if you don't know, the young man that was found rolled up in the wrestling mat. And, it just kind of brings the question, are our young people safe in these public spaces, in these public schools?
They're not. Remember, America never intended to desegregate, and they definitely never intended to desegregate the schools. A lot of black people fail to realize that the last major institution in this country to desegregate were the public schools. And most of our schools still are not desegregated even now. Even now, you have schools that have never been desegregated in this country. So white folks never wanted black children in their schools anyway. Remember this, special ed would have never been created if the schools didn't desegregate. There would be no ADHD crisis if the schools didn't desegregate. There would be no disciplined schools. There would be no school to prison pipeline. Every problem we suffer from is the result of the fact that we forced ourselves onto white people who wanted nothing to do with us.
I want to just give a shout out to the students that walked out of that school over that situation.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And kids is the only one that wanted to do something about it. Also, I just saw on BET News here that that there's the one that white male got charged with a felony. So we'll see if anything comes to that. But I appreciate you bringing up that point here. It's pretty close to home, being in Kansas, not too far away from here for sure. We have a very big tie with Kansas. So appreciate you bringing that up and the work that you're doing to help with some of those things for sure. I just want to check in real quick with Brother Qasim. Are you over here chilling, man? You good still? You all good?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm just, like I said, I'm just preparing. This mean a lot to me, man. So I'm just taking it all in right now. We here.
Good. Ticket sales for tomorrow's event. I'm gonna throw this up here real quick. December 2nd, 4 p.m. at AOS. That's 4224 North 24th Street. If you haven't had your tickets yet, Brother Qasim, how's the tickets rolling there? We still got spaces. I see here on this flyer it says there will be limited seating. Please arrive at least 1 hour in advance. We got a good going on the ticket sales, and we need to keep on pushing.
We looking strong, man. Thanks to y'all and everybody else, man. The city gonna come out. We looking good. We ain't got space, we'll make space. So that's the this is something that's needed. Of course, we have some toxicity coming into the city that night. So a lot of people have come. Dr. Umar over Jeezy, not that I'm promoting that, but it's time to wake up, man. So those who take it serious gonna be there.
Man, like you said, some people want to party, some people want to celebrate.
Celebrate, man.
We coming to celebrate the victories and prepare for more.
That's right.
That's what's up.
And much respect, to our brother who's coming in to do his performance or whatever, but if you're a black parent in the state of Nebraska, or if you're in that section of the Midwest, neighboring states, and your children are struggling in school, or you're constantly, faced with discriminatory reactionary behavior from the principal and the dean and the VP, or your child is in special ed, and if they're going through any issues at all, autism, learning disabilities, suffering exposure, you can't afford to be at no concert. You need to be listening to Dr. Umar, because I'm the only school psychologist who does what I do. I want to say that again. If I'm wrong, somebody name me another psychologist in America who goes around and teaches the parents how to save their children. I can't name another one. Who does what I do. And the fact that this is only my second visit, to Omaha and, ever in the first in 8 years, you can't afford to be at no concert and your child is struggling with how to read, he's risking being sent to discipline school or being kicked out. You need to come and learn your rights. And one of the things we are going to focus on in my message tomorrow in Omaha is your rights, parental rights, the things you need to start doing and the things you need to stop doing that's sabotaging your child's success in that school building.
Man.
Shout out to BAA and Untamed. Last meeting I went to, that's exactly what they were talking about. They didn't just talk about what's going on with the kids here, but also what's going on with the parents, what's going on with the families. Don't leave them out. They're definitely that's what's up. Buddy, did I interrupt you right there?
No, you didn't interrupt, but I did want to, before we get out of here, just kind of throw in some things that are coming on the horizon that you, Dr. Umar, might want to pay attention to and be aware of as far as Nebraska specifically. Historically, we had high numbers of black and brown young men, specifically students, being expelled and suspended from Omaha public schools. That has been an issue that has not been solved. That conversation is kind of been swept under the rug, but it's still an issue. And now we're having bills like legislative resolution 220, which is talking about, we have legislators in the state talking about arming teachers with guns. We also have LB 620 that's talking about giving 12-year-olds felonies, giving 9-year-olds being given the ability for 9-year-olds to be detained. So this preschool to prison pipeline seems to be going in the wrong direction, and that's a fight that I'm anticipating is going to pick up here in Nebraska. And I just wanted to put that on your radar, Dr. Umar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to hear that. And that just tells me that we need a chapter of the National Independent Black Parent Association, in Omaha. And I guess I'm going to need to return at some point to do my 12-hour Black Parent Know Your School Rights boot camp. That's a training that I do. I only do it once per state. We already did it in Boston 2 years ago for Massachusetts. We did it in Newark for Jersey. We did it in Philly for Pennsylvania. I only do it once per state because it's a very laborious, intense training. For 12 hours, we start at 8 in the morning. We go to 8 at night. We do have a break in there for lunch, many breaks to use the restroom, get some water, what have you. But I teach parents A to Z, everything you need to know in order to protect your child in the school. And if you master the information that I teach, you'll probably know more than the teachers, the principal, and most educational attorneys about educational law, due process, and grievance. So, we'll plan that at some future point in time. But for parents who are ready to get organized, they could definitely reach out to me. And I'm gonna put my number out there for those who do want to reach out to me, whether they got an issue with their child or if they're interested in starting a chapter of either one of those organizations. 215-989-9858. And if anyone contacts you guys, feel free to give them the number. Again, it's 215-989-9858.
That's what's up. It's 9:00 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're here with Dr. Umar and we're here with Brother Qasim. We appreciate everybody that has joined us so far in the chat. If you guys don't mind, I know that we have an agreed upon time to stop at 9:00, but I have a couple more questions for the doctor. If the doctor's of all willing to stay.
So I'm waiting for a pickup until he here. I'm good.
Got it. I only got about 5 more minutes. Just wanted to jump into a couple things here, but appreciate everybody that's gonna allow us to go past 9 here for a few minutes and just talk about one more issue that we're bringing up. I'd be remiss to fail to do my job if I wasn't also asking you some questions that the chat chimers and other people that listen to First Guy Omaha brought up. Of course, when you come on, you're one of the most controversial guests that we have. I get DMs and messages and stuff all the time from people who are asking us, why are you bringing him on? And that comes from all sides. I know you ain't scared of none of that. So just wanted to bring up a couple things. Sure. Okay. We might have lost him on that one. Ride coming up.
Come on, I got 5 minutes. I'm on this interview, fellas. Hold on. Well, look like answer that question. Let me answer it. To answer that question, I don't consider myself controversial. I consider myself truthful. When people say controversy, I kind of look the other way. I frown on it a little bit because nothing I say is controversial. It's just the truth. But it's the truth that most people don't like to hear, and it's the truth that many people are afraid to communicate. You understand? So when I say white women have no business teaching black children, we all know that to be true. They know that to be true. But you're not going to find a lot of scholars who are going to say that. You see, when I talk about, psychiatric medication, is nothing but chemical incarceration. It's nothing but a hustle by the Wall Street drug companies who make $30 billion a year pushing narcotics. Everybody knows that's the truth. If you notice, nobody ever disputes what I say. They just call it controversial because because they're not used to a black person articulating that type of truth to the power structure. So it's not controversy, it's truth. And what I always say, when telling the truth becomes controversial, that lets you know we're living in a world full of lies.
I hear you. I know you got to get going here, and I definitely want to give you a chance to respond. There's a couple things that people brought up about some of the things that you say. Besides those things, they talk about your homophobia, your anti-feminism.
Well, let me ask this question.
LGBTQ.
Anti-feminism.
I'm sorry.
Well, feminism was created by the CIA to get white women out of the house and to turn black women against black men. Let me say that again. Feminism was created by the CIA to get white women out the house so that the government could control the children and also create a new tax base with the white woman working. They could pay taxes into the system. And it was used to turn the black woman against the black man. So I'm not anti-feminism. I'm anti-white supremacy. And feminism is a branch of white supremacy. Now, when you go to LGBTQ, I don't hate nobody. I don't teach hatred towards nobody, but I disagree with the lifestyle because I know that that's also being engineered by the FBI and the CIA in order to bring about Black population reduction, okay, in the form of same-sex relationships. Two women can't reproduce, two men can't reproduce. And why in the hell would anybody be comfortable letting 5, 6, and 7-year-old Black children in kindergarten and first grade be indoctrinated with same-sex lifestyle options? Why are 5 and 6 and 7-year-old children who are too young to even be interested in exploring sexual relations, why are they being told that they have a right to be a boy or a girl? They're trying to bring about gender confusion as a strategy for population reduction. The reason they're pushing transgenderism is on Black children is because once that girl removes her fallopian tubes, she can't put them back. Once that boy has his testicles removed on the surgical table, you can't put them back. Transgenderism is self-sterilization. That's what it is. Nobody's looking at it for what it is. Dwayne Wade's son, when that boy grows up and he's 20 years old or 30 years old, and he says, wait a minute, I don't think I should have ever done this. I don't think my mother and father should have never allowed me to do this. And he says, I don't want to live as a girl no more. I want to go back to being a boy. Maybe he becomes a born-again Christian, or maybe he becomes a born-again African. But the point that I'm trying to make is when he changes his mind and wakes up from this nightmare that he's living and decides he wants to go back to being a boy, he can't. Or at least he won't be able to reproduce. Because when you undergo that transgender surgery, when you take those hormone pills, they remove your testicles. Isn't that the same thing white men did to Black men for 100 years after slavery? Didn't they hang us from trees, calling us strange fruit, cutting off our testicles? And you mean to tell me we've gotten so crazy that we're letting our children cut off their own testicles?
Brother, I was afraid this was going to happen. We would love to keep talking to you, but I know you got to go. I would love to have you back on to talk about some of these issues another time as well. I'm glad that we spent the majority of the time, though, talking about the issues in the Black community that we're about first and foremost, and also in anticipation of you coming and giving us some instruction tomorrow at the BAA's event. So I thought you were going to be able to have a little bit more time. I know you got to go. I apologize for starting that conversation with us having the ability to be able to have a real discussion about it. But if you would agree to come back another time, I'd love to keep on having some discussion here, what you got to say on some of these issues.
No problem.
If you would. Appreciate you, brother, man. You have a great day. And like I said, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person tomorrow at 4:00 at the BAA's event. Look forward to hearing you speak, and let's talk more.
Will do, fellas. God bless.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right.
Peace. All right, there you go, Brother Qasim. We appreciate you coming on as well, man, and holding it down for us. And cannot wait to get with you tomorrow. Hit us up.
Tonight, if you're free, I'll get you the private details. So I got to pick.
There you go. There you go. I mean,
yeah. So
I'll be touching down tonight. Just saying, I'll be touching down tonight, so hopefully I can make that as well. So yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward,
man. Yes, definitely, man. So I agree with 100% of what he's saying, what he stand on. It ain't that many of us, man. You know, so let's get ready for it, man. That's all. We want all the smoke. Let's get it. So I'm out.
Hey, gotta have courage to speak to the truth, man. So thank you.
We gotta live it, bro. Peace out.
Yes, peace,
brother. We'll see you soon.
Yep.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I made the mistake of getting into that conversation too late in the game there. But we'll pick it up. We got lots to talk about. I was inform people that a lot of members of the Black community wanted to hear him speak, wanted him to come on. I wanted us to be able to have some conversation and talk. He was supposed to come on Wednesday. We're going to give him the whole day, really, so we can have time to do that. And it didn't work out that way because he was traveling in Boston. So he came on Friday. Ooh, excuse me, and that's the reason why we had a little limited time because we had brother Anthony on as well. So again, we'll continue the conversation. You know how we do. It's not just one-offs for us. We have multiple conversations. We'll continue the conversation, have him back, and then also be able to talk to him in person tomorrow when you get down over here on this event at 4:00 over at AOS 422 North 24th Street. Man, Black Agenda Alliance presents in honor of its 4th year anniversary. Dr. Umar is going to speak, and we'll have a little celebration going on there as well. They're going to give away some awards to some community members as well, including us, which I think is incredible. Couldn't imagine that they're thinking of us as in that way. I know that we're trying to do the best work we can do, and we're teaming up with them on doing the best work But it's nice. It's nice to be able to for people to recognize what kind of work we're trying to do, and it's all because of you guys too, the co-hosts, the chat chimers, everybody who's coming in and having some discussion here. You guys are discussing things amongst yourselves already. We done fired up some things and fired up some more talking points. And as you witnessed, Dr. Umar said he's willing to come back so we can have some more of the discussion about some of the things that he is teaching and believing. So we'll definitely have that discussion. And shout out to everybody who is a part of putting this event on. Untamed, Sherman Wells, of course, Brother Qasim and the BAA. Man, 4 years, 8 acres later, these brothers are still here trying to do some things. And I foresee a school in our future. I foresee a black school coming through, man.
Need it. I actually wanted to ask that with Brother Qasim, but we'll definitely have to have more conversation as we move forward. And talk about that. And also, I do want to address, I'm seeing in the chat, whether you agree with someone's ideologies or not, we're not in the business of silencing anyone. Again, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. We really, believe that and stand on that. Talk about standing on business. We believe that. And whether we agree or not here personally, we want to have this platform be a platform where we can have conversation, civic, very productive conversation, and try to get down to the bottom of things and just understanding where people are coming from, whether you understand or whether you agree with it or not. That's what we're about here on First Sky Omaha, is trying to come to some, even playing field, come to some understanding, hearing people out, seeing where they're coming from, even if we don't understand or even agree with it. Again, we're not about silencing anyone.
Yeah. And we're also here to serve our community. So if black community wants to talk to somebody, we're gonna talk to somebody. That's what it is. I made the argument on our Mind and Soul days. We had Pete Ricketts on the show. We've had Don Bacon on the show several times.
Mm-hmm.
We talk to people all the time that we do sometimes do agree with their ideology. Sometimes we don't. There's a little mix of all that with everybody. I don't believe any one thing that anybody said. You know what I'm saying? We have our own personal thoughts on things, and we have and what we use this platform for is to put everybody's ideas out there so you can make up your own mind on what you believe and not believe. So the discussion that's happening in the chat, love it. This is what this is for. I'm glad it sparked discussion. I'm glad it sparked conversation for everybody to kind of find the language you need to find for yourself, your belief system, and the language with that, and have some back, and have a place that you can go and say some things that maybe everybody doesn't agree with, but you can still say them, and you're not going to get shot down for saying them. It's your idea, your opinion. You share that. We can have some intelligent discussion on it, and then with the style that we're trying to do things, sometimes you can persuade people to your point by us just having a respectful, intelligent conversation about it. Yeah. Sometimes if you don't persuade them, you can still find areas of respect. So that's what we're here to do, and that's what we're going to keep doing. And we appreciate everybody that's going with that as well for us.
As long as you're not spewing hate and calling for the harm of others, then we're here to listen.
Or harming. Big Power Weekend coming up. We've already been talking about this tomorrow, 4:00. So definitely check in there. But also that's Saturday. Also Monday, we're going to have Dr. Cornel West on the show on Monday. So stay, and we definitely he's the only guest there, so we'll have a good amount of time to be able to talk to him, and hopefully won't run overtime, and we can kind of stay within that time frame. And he'll give us some time to be able to talk to him about what's going on with his campaign. He'll be talking about his visit that's going to happen the day after our talk, which is Tuesday, November 5th. He'll be here in town at the venue at Highlander, and it'll be an evening with Dr. Cornel West. He'll be speaking with us over there at the venue. You can RSVP right here at www.cornelwest2024.com/Highlander, or you can hit that QR code there and register. And come on down. I saw Miss Erica Phelps said she got tickets to that. There's going to be more speakers, we found out today, on this event. So definitely come on down there. Shout out to the BAA for helping put that in. That's I was trying to look for the link right now. Raquel, appreciate you coming in as well and participating today. But yeah, look for that. We'll put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha if I can't find that right this minute. We'll put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha so you guys can definitely come to that. It's really, really important to come and check it out. And as you can see, he's not just coming here and coming here to speak and then rolling back out of town. He's going to go around. He's going to check out the coal plant. He's going to talk to some other organizations and be around town. He's even going to be hanging out on the social level, man, DJing at Sydney on that night. So lots going on this week. And don't forget, Buddy's in town tomorrow or today.
Yeah.
And so we might do a little Chat Chimers kickback tomorrow night. So I was thinking that the private thing that was happening, that Brother Qasim was talking about, was happening tomorrow, but it sounds like it's happening tonight. So if that's the case, then we'll call around and see if we can find a spot for us to do a little Chat Chimers kickback. So stay tuned for that news. We'll put that on Friends of First Sky Omaha when we find out today or tomorrow about when we can get together. So with that, appreciate everybody who's tuned in on that. Really appreciate that very much. Thank you, Miss Erica Fell, for putting that link in. Like I said, www.cornellwest2024/Highlander. Definitely get your registration on, and we'll see you over there as well. Definitely want to support what's going on there. So with that said, let's go ahead and get out of here. It's already 9:15. If you believe in the concept of time, buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, big shout out to Brother Anthony's Rogers-Wright. Big shout out to Brother Qasim, Brother Dr. Umar. We thank you, fellas, for coming through and speaking with us, taking time out of your busy schedules. Thank you. Big shout out to all the chat chimers for joining the conversation. We thank you. We appreciate you. We love you, man, and can't do this without you. We really have built this with you and look to continue building it with you. And maybe living alive with you a little bit this weekend. So we didn't really get into the haps. Whatever you got going on, you want to share, maybe drop that in the friends of page, but whatever. At any rate, in the meantime, between time, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And with that, Paul B,
Yo,
take it away.
Miss Erica Fell says, thank you for this show. I hope to see familiar faces at Dr. West Tuesday. Thankful for BAA bringing multiple people with multiple views to learn from. Please, everybody, be good to yourselves. Drink water and order your steps this weekend. I like that.
Man.
Appreciate you very much for that. Also, up in the chat a little bit further, Whitney Richardson says, great show though. Lots of conversation. Yes. Pop says, wow, what a show. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all on Monday. Really appreciate everybody that joined in the chat. Thanks, Pops, for sure. Man, thanks for bearing with us past the time. And this is the beginning of Power Weekend, so hopefully we'll see you at the BAA event tomorrow, Dr. Cornell West on Tuesday. And don't forget, tune in on Monday when we'll have Dr. Cornell West on as a guest on the show. Get your questions ready for him, and let's talk about it all. So really appreciate everybody that joined in, and we'll see you then. Shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Thanks for all of your comments, all of your conversation with each other. I'm glad that things are getting worked out in the chat with each other. I really appreciate that very much. And hopefully be able to see all you face to face. We're definitely going to tighten up the chat chimers as a club in season 7 so that we can all kind of get closer, do some things, live alive with one another, and also Boots to the Roots, make some movement happen. So get ready for some more activity with the chat chimers, not just on the chat, but beyond the chat as well. And really looking forward to that. So thank you very much. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get out here. One more thanks to everybody who is also a donator to this cause as well.
Man,
goes on First Sky Omaha, hits the donate button, and becomes a reoccurring member of the channel. Thank you very much. If you have not done so and you're considering helping us to continue this, please consider going to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button, and be a recurring member of this show if you would. Really appreciate you very, very, very much. With that said, we're going to get out of here and start this Power Weekend up. Again, thanks for joining us, and read bell hooks. Read some bell hooks. Shout out to Whitney Richardson for suggesting we do that and reminding us to do that. Most Def, one of my favorite writers ever. Read some bell hooks. Let's get down. We'll see you Monday. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green.